Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Keeping You Company, a podcast series where Rukamania and I chat about things which are interesting to us and ramble on for a bit, potentially up to 4 hours, like last time,
Four
about
and
topics
a
that
half.
interest us.
I
I don't
couldn't
know.
believe it.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, we won't make that that threshold again, but we'll see. And anyway, yeah. So these videos are here to keep you company if you're doing chores, playing video games, you want something on the background, or maybe you need some help, maybe going to sleep, or if you're having a bad day and you generally need a couple of voices in the background keeping you company. So there you go. We'll try and keep this one under 4 hours. I don't know. Well, I'll try. I don't know what you think of that, Rook.
Oh, I'll definitely try. I specifically remember in the last video there were like 2 or 3 points where I was trying to like set up a segue, and then you were just like, "But I want to ask you about this," and I was like, "Oh, okay." I'm got my like little timer on the side, being like, "Does he really want to go?" Because like I like again, I'm fine with just chatting, but I don't know how long you want to record for. So
I think we just, I mean, at least for us, I didn't feel like we had a list of things we wanted to talk about, and we just never reached a natural point to stop, I don't think.
yeah,
It'd be really weird to call it the summer recap video, and then we never actually talked about anything to do
never,
with
yeah,
summer.
never do the summer recap. That's true.
I don't think you, or maybe I did say this, but um, the day after, so we recorded that podcast until about 1 a.m. my time, 1:30 in the
Oh,
morning, I
that's
think.
right. Yeah, yeah, because that threw off your math. You were like, this is going to come out on Sunday, and that's 2 days from now. And then I was like, no, no, the date's wrong. And you were like, oh, right, because the date changed
Yeah.
in the middle of recording.
And then literally I don't know if I said on the podcast, but then the next morning, well, that same morning, I guess, in the way to think about it, I was up at 6 a.m. to go off on a day trip.
Wow.
So ever since then, I mean, also with Fear of Dracula recordings and stuff, my sleep schedule has been royally screwed over. But that's fine. It
Yep.
was okay. Um, so
Yep.
yeah.
I was a figment of your imagination as a co-host for a little while there.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, because we recorded the podcast, and then was it the next day
It
that
was
we
the
did
next
it?
day. It was the
Yeah.
next night. You just decided to stay up till like 3 in the morning again.
Yeah, to do a recording, and you came along to keep me company.
Yep.
And then for some reason, when I was setting up all the stuff on OBS, I had to tell it to stop showing the video of Hamburg and Lübeck and the Baltic coast, and said to show Fear of Dracula, but I must have also turned off the Discord, the audio tab I've got. So for the first 45 minutes of the game, we were having a lovely conversation, but nobody heard your side of it. So it just sounded like I was going insane talking to a
Yeah.
rook.
What do you think? Or where's he gone? Silence.
Yeah.
Oh, oh, interesting.
Well, if it makes it worse, nobody else in the live stream noticed either until
I
really
know.
far in.
I tell you, people on that live stream, they were using that live stream to keep them company.
They were,
That, that was
clearly.
not that was not an active listening situation, clearly, because they were all just like, "Oh, Scott starts talking. Okay,
That's fine. Oh, he said something about the trail. Yeah, that's cool.
yep." And both people who were actively in chat. Like, I don't have anything against people who want to just tune in and not get involved in the chat. Like, I've been that person in all sorts of live stream situations. I think it's totally reasonable. But the funny thing is, the both people who were more active and actually typing in the chat were like, "Oh, we didn't notice the title," and it's like, well, if you were paying attention to the audio, should have just sounded weird to begin with. Like, why did you need to see the title to realize I wasn't on the stream?
Oh, because the one time I actually set up a title where I say that featuring a Commandia, right?
Yeah.
I think one of them had an excuse. They were just making memes. So, I mean, fair enough.
Yes. Yeah. Fair enough.
And it was a crazy game as well. So, it's very funny.
Yeah, that game was wild. I didn't Strider, I think, dropped it in our like mutual chat without any explanation, but he and I like cooked up this whole scenario where at the last minute the hunters have almost given up, and then they get the renewed vigor play, and so all of a sudden they get this like last burst of energy. They get a speedy telegraph from Van Helsing after he's just popped up in a hospital halfway across the world, and Godalming reads it and he's like, "Okay, Mina,
Give me a
take my
ticket.
horses.
Yeah.
Take my horses. I have a train to catch." And then he charges off to Marseille and gets on a speedboat and jumps onto Cagliari and gets into this crazy 1v1 versus track.
And
But
they're all.
that short little snippet of a quote that I just came up with out of nowhere. Take my horse.
Amazing.
I have a train to catch. That, like, it
And I
just
guess then
tickles me somehow.
Godalming would have then just come back onto the mainland after dealing with Dracula, just like, yeah, done it single-handedly, no sweat.
Yep, not a problem. Yeah,
Goodness
it's
me, what
done.
insane finale. There you go.
Yeah, that game was wild. And the recording, like the recording, Strider also pointed this out, was totally fitting because the first half of that game as hunters, he was in shambles. He
Hmm.
was just getting, you know, running around the map without a whole lot of without a whole lot of rhyme or reason. And then it all came together at the end. And so as things were coming together for the hunters, things came together for the live stream.
Yeah, that's right. So you're welcome, Strider.
That's
If you
right.
need me to sabotage my live stream again, then let me know.
Oh, he's pushing you. He's pushing you now. I've seen him. Come on, Scott Sword. Stay up late. Stay up late. Stream my game. You're
Be
not
your
going to do anything
co-host.
else anyway. Yeah.
That's become a bit of a meme now. But yeah,
Oh
it
no.
was good, very good fun. So yeah, obviously this is coming out on the first Sunday of October, so it is
Hmm.
possible that some people might be tuning in to this podcast, and suddenly be like, "Oh wait, summer recap? Have we missed something?" Yeah, we are doing the podcast slightly more regularly. We're gonna try and keep them out. We keep one coming out the first Sunday of every month, every calendar month. But then if we can fit others in between, then we shall. But we can't guarantee it. It just depends on work schedule and like. So yeah, there's a summer recap video, which I think has a normal view count for Uruk. It hasn't
That's right.
exploded.
No.
Um,
No, I think we've hit a new standard, right? I think we've gotten over the spike of people who thought maybe that would be interesting for Stardew Valley, and now we're back to like our core audience.
mhm. So, but no, there might be some people watching this who maybe missed the last two podcasts. First one because it was on the first Sunday of the month, and then the other one because there was some weird editing stuff which may be screwed over with the algorithm. So, yeah, feel free to go, but you'll find the playlist in the description, and you can go back and listen to them if you so wish. You'll learn about the one two podcasts ago. It was all about Catalonia's weird obsession with sort of pooing characters at Christmas time. And then the last episode was our summer recap. There are other things too in there, but those are the two headline things, I suppose.
That last one was the 4.5 hour one. That's the one where we just kept going on and on about whatever.
Yep, many tangents. But
Yeah,
it's good. That's what happens when you don't talk to somebody in 3.5 months.
yeah, that's what happens. Conversations naturally get longer. We'll see what happens with this one.
The footage that you're seeing in this podcast is from I said in the summer recap that after our trip to Hamburg, my wife and I took a few days to go down to Prague, and some of the footage you're seeing, oh, as I suddenly realised my finger slipped or something, or the phone slipped in the recording phase. Very good, very professional operation we got going on here. So the first bit of footage you're seeing is part of the train ride from Hamburg down to Prague. It's really cool once you kind of get around the border between Germany and the Czech Republic. The scenery is just beautiful, and you follow the river that actually then ends up going into Prague, and it's beautiful. You know, like this beautiful valley, and it's twisting and turning. It's awesome. See, I know the window's dirty. I can't do anything about that. And yeah, it's not the most professional footage, but there you go. And then later on, there's just some scenes I was able to capture in Prague, mostly of the river and the castle, but at various different angles. So, you know, it'll be very peaceful. Um,
Yeah, that's the one where you sent me the clock tower picture, right?
right. Yeah,
Where I was
the
like,
the what's it called? The astronomical clock in Bloodborne, right? Is that what it's called? No, it's not called the astronomical
no,
clock.
it's the astral clock tower. Yeah.
Astro Clock Tower. That's it. It's called the astronomical clock. That's right. That's right. It's based on it. Because I just sent it to you randomly, I think, and you're like,
Yep.
I know that clock.
Right.
I don't know if
We
it's
just did an
actually.
episode on Translation Born, all about it.
See, I don't know actually if I've got it in the video. I don't think I do, just because it was really hard to record a video there with so many tourists. Because it's
Right.
obviously a huge tourist. It's right in the one of the main squares in Prague, and
Hmm.
there are obviously so many people who go there A to take pictures of the clock, but also all the beautiful buildings. The buildings are stunning. All right, they're all different colors, all slightly different style. They're absolutely amazing. Um, and actually, when we went to the Prague Castle, we went inside this really sort of quaint little shop that they got there, and there was a guy who was selling model little not like like little house miniatures that were homemade.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and he told us that they are like replicas of real houses in Prague,
Oh,
or real
that's a cool
buildings.
idea.
So the ones, because my wife likes to collect these sort of things.
Hmm.
So he told us, right, that house is located in this part of Prague. This house is located in this part of Prague, and so on. So then the next day we went up at the crack of dawn. That was the only day we woke up really, really early to go to the square where we'd been there before. There was so many tourists. Like, let's come back here at dawn, more or less, when there's nobody there. And it was also, I think, on a Sunday, or Saturday, so it was very quiet because everyone was obviously sleeping after partying the night before. We were able to take advantage, and we found the building that now my wife has in miniature form.
That
So
you
it's very
have the
nice.
miniature of. Yeah, that's great.
So yeah, as I said, I don't think it's in this stock footage or anything, but we can leave links to the description to both the Bloodborne and then the one that's in Prague. It's very impressive.
Cool.
Um, so the plan for today's podcast, because we don't want to record for 4.5 hours again, but you never know, it might end up being that way. But also because I'm a little bit sleepy, and we'll give a Rook as much airtime as possible. Is we came up with an idea during this. I'm going to say this. I kind of stole this a little bit from Hello Internet, the podcast with CGP Grey and Brady Heron, which I really liked, which unfortunately is not going anymore, but it might come back one day. They did a quiz episode one day, mostly because Brady Heron wanted to test CGP Grey's knowledge of sport and modern culture, which is something maybe not CGP Grey's strong suit.
Hmm.
But because we talk a lot about culture on this podcast, right? So I was like, well, why don't we do little quizzes about the US and Britain?
Hmm.
So that's the plan for today. We're gonna put Rukamania in the hot seat. Right? You're
Oh
gonna
boy.
I don't know if anybody, I don't know if it's in the States. Do you have a quiz show called Mastermind?
I don't know if we have a quiz show called that. There's definitely something called Mastermind in the US, but I don't think it's a quiz show. I think it might be
Ah,
like a trivia game.
I see. Okay, this one's like a more serious sort of quiz show,
Hmm.
and it's been going for a long time. And the rules are incredibly simple. There's no like crazy formats. It's just there's normally 4 contestants on each show, more or less, and you have 2 rounds per person. One round is they're asked questions on a specialist subject. So ahead of time, they've told the producers of the show, if I'm on the show, I want to answer questions about whatever topic, right? It could be
Hmm.
anything. You could do it about the Bloodborne game, right? Easy.
Yeah.
And then you go on and you have 2.5 minutes to answer as many questions as you can about Bloodborne. And
Hmm.
then it's general knowledge. Um,
Aha.
and it's often known as like the most intimidating quiz show on TV because it's very sort of minimalistic. There's just the host chair, and sitting directly
Hmm.
in front of him, opposite him, is just a black leather chair. And you have to, as a contestant, you have to walk from your seat where you're in a row of all the other contestants out into the middle of like the arena almost. Right? It's not a big
Oh wow.
studio, but still with the dark lights and this ominous music like dum 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 like that, right? And you have to go and sit
Hmm.
down, and you're just in the spotlight for 2.5 minutes.
Wow.
um, but
Boy,
so
well, I'm in considerably more comfortable surroundings than that, but I'm also quite confident that I will do terribly on this quiz. So hopefully
well,
it will serve as like a means for discussion.
absolutely. So I'll say up ahead. So British cultural quiz, and obviously at some point, you'll be able to return the favor and then humiliate my lack of knowledge and highlight my lack of
I'm
knowledge on the US.
I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. You know more than you give yourself credit for. I remember fairly early on in Fury of Dracula saying, "Well, I don't know any of these places in Europe that are on the board game map for Fury of Dracula," and you being like, "Well, imagine if they'd set something in the U.S." And then I see you playing, the truck simulator in the States,
Oh
and you've got
well,
all these different city names and location, like state names and everything, and I'm just like, you know a lot actually about U.S. geography.
I don't know. If it had to just name the states, I'd probably do pretty well. And if it was the flags, I'd probably get a lot of. Well, I mean, it helps. A lot of your state flags have the name of the state on the flag, which is
That
incredibly
does help.
helpful. Which I don't
Yeah.
like, by the way. But anyway. But yeah, as soon as you start asking me state capitals and things, I'll be like, I know the names of a lot of towns and cities, but I don't know their state capitals, and yeah, it'd be terrible. But anyway, I'll say up at people who are listening can play along, right? Feel free if you're kind of watching this and you're able to pause it. Maybe it's quite a good idea to kind of pause the video after each question, because then you can have time to think about it in case a rook knows the answer and triumphantly answers before I've even finished answering the question. But also, I've kind of obviously the questions I'm kind of asking are maybe weighted towards things I'm kind of interested in, but at the same time I've kind of keep it as broad as possible. But I've also tried to make it a rook friendly.
Ooh.
Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you like something really, really, really hyper specific. And if it is, only like one question. So
Okay.
don't panic and think I'm going to be asking about loads of British people who you've maybe never heard of, right? So don't panic about it. I try to think what sort of questions would either a rook know the answer to, or at least be interested in the answer, kind of thing. So that's why.
I have before we get started, you've just prompted me to think about quiz design now, and I have a friend who used to be big into doing trivia, and his like after doing a lot of trivia nights with him and his friend, like he was able to sort of refine an opinion about what makes for a good like trivia game night question, and it's really tricky to do, but the best question in his estimation, and he gave me a good example of this, was something that it's like a multiple answer question, and you can easily get part of the answer, and then you have to sort of reach for the other part of the answer, but it's
Right,
not out of your grasp, so to
right,
speak.
yeah,
Right? So you want it to be where it's like, oh, I could maybe get this, as opposed to I have no idea. That's just random trivia that nobody knows.
right,
Or oh, that's super easy, right? You want it in the middle where it's like, okay, I can get this part of the question, but what's the full answer? And you have to think about it and then finally arrive at the solution.
right.
So you've just sort
Also,
of prompted me to think about that, like the ideal sort of trivia question.
right. Or the type of thing I like is, as you said, multi answers, like something really generic, like name all the countries that border Germany as a random example, because there'll be even if you're working within a team or whatever, everyone can contribute. There'll be some people who
Hmm.
get the more obvious answers, and then you get people who'll be able to then reach for the more sort of niche answers potentially, and that's kind of
Yeah.
nice. Um,
Yeah.
I like those sort of things.
That's exactly the sort of thing that I was thinking of. So just to like the example that my friend used was like people who are on U.S. currency who were never president, and
Ah,
it's the same sort of thing where it's like, oh, you can sort of figure like one of them, like Alexander Hamilton is, if you know a lot about U.S. history, like that one comes right to mind. But then some of the other ones aren't quite so obvious. For me, it was like, okay, um, I can't remember. I can't remember who they all are because I'm terrible at trivia. I think Benjamin Franklin's another fairly obvious one, and then there's one other person who the quiz was like looking for, and that was the one you had to like reach for.
okay. Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah. So, sorry, I couldn't tell you any countries that border Germany. I don't know anything about geography.
Oh, you can't even use the Fear of Dracula map to your advantage.
No, no, that's like from the 1800s. What's that going to do for me?
Well, true. And to be fair, and the regions do not fully correspond to countries, right? They're
Yeah,
more regional names, right?
that's right.
That's true. That's true.
Germania is bordered by Gallia and Italia, obviously.
Ah, that's true. That's true. Well, so there you go. So that's the plan. So people can play along. Um, are you? And this is something that Hello Internet. We don't have to do it, but I'm just interested. Are you? Not that we're betting or anything, but are you willing to kind of put a stake down in terms of how many points you think you would get, and then we can compare to see, how close you were to your estimate?
How's it scored?
There are a total of 50 points. Some
Okay.
questions are half pointers. If there are multiple answers, they might be half pointers. But yeah, um, there's the points are generally spread across different topics. But as I said, once you see the kind of topics, there's some which might be a little bit more weighted towards you.
Okay.
Or should
All
I tell
right.
you the topics first, and then that might give you a bit of an indication?
No, no, I'm gonna blind guess, I like
Okay.
this. I'm going to blind guess that I will get 18 points.
18 out of 50.
Yep.
Okay.
I think I can do 1 in 3.
Okay. That's just over 1 in 3. Okay.
I
That's
know.
right. So 18 is the score to beat. So maybe people who are listening,
That's
you
what
maybe put in your own predictions too, out of 50. And it's only
that's what
about
I'm shooting
British
for.
culture. Okay. Well, we'll see then.
We'll
And we
see.
can count them up at the end, and we'll be able to work them out. Okay.
Yep.
So the way I thought we would do it is just to get a couple of sort of general things out of the way first. There's I've called them starter questions, which are maybe
Mm-hmm.
5 points.
Okay.
And then from then on, there's lots of different topics. And you can, if you want me just to do it in the order that I've written them, that's fine. If you want to pick a specific order, then you can go for it. Um,
All right.
so, starter questions. Okay, so the first
Okay.
one is the United Kingdom is a bit of a strange entity, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like a country of countries. The United Kingdom is the sovereign state, but inside that sovereign state of the United Kingdom, there are kind of, depends on what you call them, four constituent countries or regions or parts, depending on how you classify them. So there are 2 points up for grabs, half a point each.
Okay.
Can you name the four constituent parts of the sovereign United Kingdom?
Oh boy. Um. All right. So the 4 parts of the sovereign United Kingdom. This is something that I didn't know about until I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago. I used to just think the UK and Great Britain were interchangeable, but I think Great Britain is another like smaller bundle, right?
Okay.
So I think we have Britain is its own thing. Wait, is it Britain or is it England? I think it's England that's its own thing. So I'm going to say there's England. Um, Scotland has got to be one of them. What is it? Something about England, Scotland, and Wales? I'm going to guess that Wales is a thing. Is the other one Ireland?
Okay.
That's my
So
guess.
so
Four. England,
you've
Scotland,
said
Wales, Ireland.
England, Scotland, Wales, Ireland.
That's my guess.
Okay. You have 1.5 points out of two. You got
Yay!
three of them right. You're right. It's England, Scotland, and Wales. I was gonna say, after talking to me and Roscoe long enough, if you didn't get Scotland right, you would have been banished from the chat. Absolutely. Yeah, so you're right. I can explain it now. You're right. Great Britain is another bundle. Great
Aha.
Britain is a geographic term, not a geopolitical term. Great Britain is the biggest island in the cluster, and it contains most of England, most of Scotland, and most of Wales. But there's also like lots of islands off to the coast, which are part of the countries of England, Scotland, and Wales, but they are not part of Great Britain because Great Britain's the island. But we often just use Great Britain as a kind of pseudo geopolitical term, but it isn't really one. Um,
Okay.
but that's where British comes from. That's why the nationality is British, comes from Great Britain. Um,
Okay.
Ireland is not correct. If we were
Mm-hmm.
talking just over 100 years ago, then you'd be correct. It's actually
Ooh.
just Northern Ireland, not Ireland.
Okay.
Ireland
Northern
is
Ireland.
the island. This is getting confusing real fast, right? So how Great Britain you got Great Britain is the biggest island. So if you imagine the Free of Jackal map, right? The one on the right hand side, that's Great Britain, and
Mm-hmm.
the one on the left is the island of Ireland. And on the island of Ireland, you've got two countries. What we call in English the Republic of Ireland, which is the southern portion, but that's its own sovereign state. It's not part of the United Kingdom anymore. There's a whole war of independence. It was a big thing. And then you got the
Mm-hmm.
little portion in the sort of the northeast of that, which is Northern Ireland, and that has remained part of the United Kingdom. When you look it up online, it's not really classed as a country. I guess if we're talking very kind of vaguely, we might say the word country, but it's not really a country. It might just be called a constituent part because of the way that it became Northern Ireland is a bit complicated and the history is very confusing. So, um,
Aha.
so there you go. But you got 1.5. As I said, if you're talking about
Ah,
100 years ago, you get all 2 points there.
Apologies if I offended anyone from Ireland. That was not my intention. I'm just an idiot.
Don't worry, don't worry. That's a pretty good effort. Okay, so now we know the four constituent parts: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Can you name
Hmm.
me the capital cities of those constituent parts?
Oh, good grief.
Half a point for each.
Uh, okay. England has got to be London, right? It's got to be London. Um, Scotland, I think, is Edinburgh. That's like a big city. It's the only big city I know in Scotland, so I'm just gonna say it's that. Um, I don't know anything about Wales, and I clearly don't know anything about Northern Ireland, so I'm just gonna say those two.
Okay, and you're not gonna punt any guesses for the other two then.
I mean, what's a city in Ireland? From Fury of Dracula, Dublin. I'm gonna say Dublin.
Okay, you're using the Fear of Dracula map to your advantage.
That's
Dublin
right.
and
And I don't know anything about Wales. Is Wales a city as well as a political thing? Is Wales the capital of
oh
Wales?
oh,
I don't know.
you have 1 point out of two. You got London
Okay.
and you got Edinburgh. We're gonna have to fix your pronunciation of Edinburgh though.
Oh, really?
If you ever see Burgh at the end of a
Yeah.
British place name, it's not pronounced borough.
Oh.
Even that's like the Scottish. Even if it has Borough, that's not borough either. It's
Mm.
borough or bruh.
Bruh. Hmm.
One syllable or two, but it's never with an
I
O
give
sound. It's weird,
I give
but
myself half credit for not calling it Edinburgh.
well, that one's worse to be fair. So I'll give you that. It's also harder in Spain, right? Because in Spanish it's Edimburgo, and then in Catalan
Ooh.
Edinburgh. So every time I speak to people, who go, "Oh yeah, Edinburgh," I'm like, "Oh no,
Mm.
no, it's GH, it's not G." So yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Um, Dublin is on the Free of Dracula map, but Dublin is the capital of the Republic of Ireland.
Oh, great.
Unfortunately, Northern Ireland is not represented on the Free of Dracula board with a city. The capital is Belfast.
Oh, I've heard of that city.
Um, Famous for where the Titanic was built.
Interesting. I didn't know about the Titanic at all.
There you go. And there is a Welsh city on the Free of Dracula map,
There is?
Swansea.
Oh, Swansea.
But Swansea's not the capital, strangely. It's actually
Oh,
Cardiff, which is not far away from Swansea. It's on the same coastline. It's on the southern part of Wales. It's
Cardiff.
actually Cardiff, but Cardiff's not on the map. So I don't know why they picked
Okay.
Swansea, not Cardiff, but there you go. So you got one
I had
point.
no chance. I had no chance with Wales. I don't even really know what Wales is.
That's okay. Don't you worry. I think in Europe, the only places where the country and the city, the capital city, have the same name would be the microstates, the ones which are really, really
Hmm.
small. So Luxembourg, I know it's the same, or they maybe call it Luxembourg City, but I think it's just called Luxembourg. But yeah, city states and things would do it. So yeah, the small ones might do. But even then, like Liechtenstein isn't. Andorra, I'm trying to remember. Andorra has a longer name. It has something beginning with V, if I remember rightly. Monaco, but that's a
Hmm.
city state, so yeah. So no, that's okay. Don't worry. Poor Wales, that's okay. Um, and then the
Sorry,
last,
people from Wales. I'm
I
just
know
an
we've
idiot.
we've annoyed the Irish and the Welsh now. Oh my goodness, what a start! It's okay. Don't you worry. Um, and then the third question, worth a point. I originally written it is, can you tell me what the name of the flag is for the United Kingdom? But I've also changed it and said, you can either tell me the name if you think you know the name, or if you just describe to me what the United Kingdom flag looks like, you'll get a point.
Okay. I feel like so there's an answer that I want to give you, and that's the Union Jack. But I feel like that might be a trap because it might be the flag of one of the constituent parts of the United Kingdom and not the United Kingdom.
Oh.
But as I sit here trying to think of literally anything else, I can't. So I'm just gonna guess that it's the Union Jack. It's the one with the like it looks like a cross through it.
Uh-huh. Any
Yeah.
colours?
Well, it's red, white, and blue.
That'll do. That'll do. You get the point. Yeah, Union flag or Union Jack. I think there might be some sort of discrepancy if it's on a boat or not. I don't know. But yeah, but the clue is in the word union, right? It's about the union of England and Scotland and Ireland. If you basically take the flag of England, the flag of Scotland, and the old flag of the United Ireland, and you basically squish them all together, you get the Union flag or the Union Jack, whatever you want to call it.
Aha.
Even though the Republic of Ireland is not part of the United Kingdom because hence it's a republic, it's still represented on the flag because of the historical significance. Wales is not represented on the flag because for a long time Wales was seen as a kind of like a constituent part of England.
Oh.
It's weird. It's weird.
No wonder I don't know anything about it.
There you go. There you go. So that's why Wales is not represented on the flag. It's incorporated inside of England. So there you go. So
Well, it's
not bad.
crazy how just like the names and like representations of places carry so much meaning.
Right. Exactly.
It's got so much history locked up in it.
So much history locked up in it. Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. So there you go. Very good, Rick. Out of 5, 3.5 so far. Good start.
Yeah,
Big start.
I'm ahead of pace.
Absolutely. Okay, I'll tell you the other topics, and then you tell me what sort of order you want to do them, and you want to quickly jot them down, you can.
Mm-hmm.
We've got general knowledge, uh, geography. So general knowledge for 5 points, geography for 5 points,
Okay.
history for 5 points.
Mm-hmm.
A subject that I've called oddities and culture, which is 10 points. So you can see I'm kind of weighting it in your favor a little bit, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
Entertainment for 5 points.
Okay.
Brace yourself. Sport for 5 points.
Oh no.
And
That
then
one's not in my favor.
and then there are 2 sections on British words and phrases. I've split them into 2 different sections because the structure of the 2 sections are different. But that's 10 points in total, but it's 5 and 5.
Okay.
So, where would you like to start, Rook?
All right, I'm going straight for geography because I think I'm going to do the worst.
Okay, well, we'll find out then. Right. Okay, how am I going to explain this in an easy way? So, the United Kingdom is made up of England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, as we just discussed. But there's also
Mm-hmm.
some strange things in the UK called overseas territories or crown dependencies, which are basically like these really kind of small territories that the United Kingdom kind of still controls. They have self-governance, but the United Kingdom is responsible for defending them and that kind of stuff. And the people who
Okay.
are born there, I think, if I get this correctly, are automatically British citizens. I think weird relationships. Anyway, can you name me any one of these overseas territories or crown dependencies?
I seriously doubt that. Uh, uh, well, I know Hong Kong was famously under British control, but it's been since returned to Chinese control.
Right. I
Sort of
guess if we're doing this
famously in recent.
yeah, if I guess it was 30 years ago, I guess that would have. I don't know what it would have counted as. I guess that would have been an overseas territory, or maybe like a protectorate or something. I don't know what the official name was of Hong Kong back then. But I guess that would have. I would probably would have allowed that. Unfortunately, yeah, a little bit too late. Unfortunately.
Yep, out of date on that one. It's the only one I could think of. I know you used to care a lot about shipping lanes. What's the big one in Europe? Gibraltar. I'm gonna guess Gibraltar.
Very good. You get a point. Gibraltar
I was
is
right.
correct. It is absolutely spot on. That's an overseas territory. Very good.
Random knowledge from World War II. Hooray!
Well done. Yeah, absolutely. Do you know where Gibraltar is, more or less?
Not really. It's on the border of like the Mediterranean and the Atlantic. Is that it?
Yeah, exactly. Just that little strait where it enters into the Mediterranean. So it's basically the southern tip of Spain. There's a little kind of very strange overseas territory, which is called Gibraltar. Yeah. And it has its own airport and everything. And there's a lot of people who cross the border between Spain and Britain to do business and trade and stuff. But obviously, since Brexit, it's been a bit of an issue.
Hmm.
The people of Gibraltar voted something like 98% against Brexit because their
Yeah.
population was so small it didn't count.
Oh
So
man.
it's a bit unfortunate, but anyway. But yeah, absolutely right. Gibraltar is one. I guess the other one, which would be very potentially famous to like a worldwide audience would be, I'll give you as a clue and see if you know the name.
Hmm.
Uh, Britain in the 90, I got to get this right, 1980s, I want to say, went to war with Argentina because of this overseas territory.
Britain. Oh, modern history is not my strong suit. Britain went to
Ooh.
war in the 1980s
Right, it went to war with Argentina.
with Argentina.
Yeah,
So I don't think I'm going to get this one.
that's okay. So it was the Falkland Islands. That's what they're called in
Falkland
English,
Islands.
anyway. So they're located
Okay.
literally off the coast of Argentina in the southern Atlantic Ocean. There are others in that area of the world as well. You've also got the South Georgia and Sandwich Islands. The British Antarctic territory would have counted.
Ah,
Britain also controls some military bases in Cyprus, which would count as well. Bermuda is one as well. There are
oh,
others, but
really?
I'll skip over them a little bit. The three crown dependencies are the Isle of Man, which is located between Ireland and Great Britain, and
I've heard of
then the
that place.
two Channel Islands, Jersey and Guernsey, and then any other sort of bits around there.
I've not heard of those two. I've
That's
heard of
okay.
the Isle of Man. I didn't know that was technically its own thing, like a what did you call it? Dependency.
Crown dependency. Yeah, it's weird. It's funky.
Hmm.
It's kind of like this weird. Also, like I think it acts as a tax haven because it's not technically part of the UK Treasury and everything.
Oh,
It's
weird.
also very famous for motorbike races there.
Hmm.
So there you go. So that's what you got a point. I gave
All
you.
right.
I gave you a very, as you can tell, like you had lots of different answers. I think it's up to maybe 20 answers. I think something like that, and you got one, so you get the point.
Nice.
Um, Question number two: Can you name the highest mountain in the UK?
No, there are mountains in the UK. There have to
Oh,
be.
oh yeah.
You're in the Highlands, right? They're up high.
Right. Uh-huh.
Oh boy, I just don't know any of their names.
No. That's okay. Are you wanting to pass?
I'm trying to think if I can literally think of any names of mountains that I've heard of that I think are British. No, I keep thinking of like Mount Athens or something. No, it's clearly wrong. No, I have no idea.
Ben Nevis is the highest.
Okay,
And it's in
Ben
Scotland.
Nevis.
Yeah.
That makes
Um,
sense.
so, next question is kind of connected with that, but I'll give you a margin of error to work with. So next question was
Okay.
going to be is how high is Ben Nevis?
It's got to be over 3,000 meters, right?
I'll give you a I don't know what's fair, like a 20% margin either side, and you get the point.
20% margin.
Either side, so you get
I'm
20%
gonna
below,
guess.
20%
I'm gonna
above.
guess. I'm gonna guess 3,200 meters.
3,200 meters.
That's
Okay,
my guess.
I'm now going to have to convert that into feet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
I thought I
okay.
was making it easier for you. See, the thing is, the mountains I know the most about are all in Japan, and they're measured in meters.
Right, okay. That's right. I'll quickly look up on the internet the height of Ben Nevis in meters. I should have written it down. Oh, okay. Okay, I've got it. I've got it. So, what was your guess? Or your answer, I should say?
3,200.
3,200 meters. Okay, I don't need to do the maths. You're not going to get the point. Sorry, Arug.
Ooh.
It's only 1.3 kilometers high. It's
Oh,
just over
wow.
4,500 feet. Just under 4,500 feet. Um,
Wow. Yeah. See, so like in Japan, they talk about the 3,000 meter line, and that's roughly 10,000 feet. So
right.
that makes sense. Yeah.
The ones that Scottish people really care about are the ones that are over 3,000 feet. If I'm not mistaken, they're called Munros, and there are people who literally go and climb up all of them. They call them Munro bagging or Munro baggers. So they go around and try and collect every single summit of all the ones over. I'm sure it's over 3,000 feet. That would make sense.
It
Yeah,
would
over
make sense.
3,000 feet, so over a kilometer high. Yeah, so there are people who go around and try and bag all of them, which is neat.
Nice. Yeah, that is
Um,
cool. In Japan, they have the 100 famous mountains, the Hyakumeizan.
Ooh. And are they all over a
which those
certain
aren't
height, or is it just because they've got like cultural significance?
those aren't like it's actually kind of a neat story, I think, because there are obviously way more than 100 mountains in Japan, but there was this one guy who decided to write a book, and he was just like a serious mountaineer, and he like put together all his experience, and like he was like, I think that, height should count for something, cultural significance should count for something, and my personal experience should count for something. And he sort of mixed those three together in differing values and created this book that was like, these are the 100 famous mountains of Japan.
Oh,
And he
neat.
wrote all about them. And ever since then, it's sort of been codified, and people will go for it, sort of like the Monroe Baggers. So, like, we're going to go for all 100 of the 100 famous mountains of Japan.
Nice. That's awesome. Just set people challenges and they'll do it.
Yep. And again,
I
like it's the same sort of thing that brought us like into this conversation. But that like 3,000 meter line, that's sort of the like that's a tall mountain for Japan. So that's the ones. It's like the 3,000 feet, only obviously much taller.
right. I'm ashamed to say I have bagged no Monroes yet. That's something I want to do at some point.
Oh, that could be
Yeah.
fun.
I mean that's the
Maybe
thing.
if I
Like,
visit you over the summer sometime, we could do one.
oh yeah, we'll have to try and we'll have to figure a way of coordinating that.
That would be
You'll
very
realize I'm
cool.
very poor at climbing mountains, but we can give it a go.
That's
There must be
okay.
some which are more accessible. There are some others, I can't remember now what they're called, but they're below. 3,000, like another classification below the Monroe.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
there's.
mean, they shouldn't because I don't climb mountains. I just go hiking, right? Are
Right.
they? Do they all require like technical hiking, like climbing ability? Because that would
I,
change the equation considerably.
there might be some which maybe are more tricky to climb, but I'm sure some of them are more accessible. I don't know, actually. Good question. Something I don't know much about, I'm afraid.
Oh, we'll have to find out because if you could just hike up them, that's no problem for me. But if you have to
Yeah.
climb them, then I'm gonna run into a sudden like I was gonna say a sudden rock wall and realize that was totally appropriate to the subject.
No, I think it's possible. I'm seeing here on the Visit Scotland website that over 6,000 people have completed all of the Monroes.
Wow,
Very, very
that's
good effort.
impressive.
Yeah, so that's the thing, like you're saying, all the Highlands, right? The mountains are up there. I mean, there are lots of mountains, and same in Wales as well, there's a lot of mountains. But the thing is, the mountains, even though there are a lot of them, they're not actually, relatively speaking, that high. Like the highest mountains in Spain are way higher than the ones in Scotland. But Scotland is known as being a mountainous area. It's kind of weird how it just happens. I think I looked this up, and it's to do with the fact that the mountains in Scotland are very old. They're actually the same as is it the Appalachians, which are in the eastern US.
Oh yeah.
They're actually
Yep.
from this. They're the same mountain range when the
Oh, that's
tectonic
cool.
plates are all in different positions, but because they're so old, they've kind
hmm
of eroded down over time. Whereas the newer
It's funny. I
mountains are the
was
ones which are
I
much
was
higher.
just gonna say that like the mountains that are in my region, which are the Appalachian Mountains, uh, they are fairly old and famous for not being particularly high.
Ah, you see, there
Yeah,
you go, people. So that's that. So yeah, sorry, Rook. Good guess, but you weren't inside the 20%
that's okay.
estimation.
Japan was in my head, so that's what I went with.
That's okay, not a problem. See, maybe you should have stuck. You see, if you'd stuck closer to home, you'd have got the
I
answer.
should have stuck closer to home.
Okay, next question. I've changed the question. Can you tell me the name of the river that flows through London?
Oh, that one I know. That would be the Thames.
Spot on. That's a point for a rook.
Hooray!
I'll ask you the original question I had, but maybe it's too difficult. Do you know the name of the longest river in the UK?
Uh, no, not off the top of my head. If it's not the Thames, I don't know it.
Well, you say it's not the Thames. The Thames is only 5 miles shorter, so it's pretty
Ooh.
damn close. And I guess it also depends then which main, because there'll be lots of tributaries, right? So which one you pick as the starting point, I guess. It's a bit of point of
Hmm.
contention. Um, no, it's called the River Severn, and it actually
Oh.
flows out near Cardiff. Funny enough, where you got that bit of where the southern Wales, where you got then the was the Irish Sea. The River Severn flows into there. So there you go.
Hmm.
It's 220 miles. And it starts off in the Welsh mountains and then flows into England, then back around again. Okay. And then the last question. The question might seem more difficult than it sounds, but I'm going to give you 3 possible answers.
Okay.
So, I told you that the 4 constituent parts are England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. The population of the UK as of 2022 is, or was, I should say, 67.6 million people.
Mm-hmm.
What percentage of that population lives in England? And the 3 options you have are 44%, 64%, or 84%.
Live in England, you say?
Only in England. So what population,
Okay.
what percentage of the total UK population, 68 million-ish, lives
Yep.
inside England?
They're all higher than I was going to guess. The lowest one's 44.
Right. 44, 64, 84.
My intuition is to go with the middle. However, I feel like that's not very impressive. And I feel like this is something that would have an impressive answer. So I'm going to go with 84.
So you're not going with what your intuitive answer would be, but you're kind of like metagaming it a little bit.
That's what I'm doing.
Well, you got it
My
right,
only hope.
Yaruk. You got it
Uh-huh.
right. It's 84%. The
Holy
vast,
smokes.
vast majority live in England. It's not even close, as you can tell, right? If you
Wow.
only got 60% across the other 3 constituent parts, it's pretty ridiculous.
That's wild.
England alone has a bigger population than Spain, if I'm not mistaken, or at least the whole UK does. But the area of Spain is quite a bit larger than the UK. Spain's population centers are very closely, you know, you got Madrid in the center, then all the ones around the coasts, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
But then England, especially if you're driving up, say, even from London up to, say, Manchester kind of area, or maybe slightly further north, it's just city after city after town after town after town. It's so densely populated in that sort of middle area of England. It's pretty ridiculous. So there you go.
Wow.
So you got 3 points from the geography round, Rook.
I am astonished.
Okay, well you got to pick another topic now.
Okay. Let's go back to general knowledge.
Okay. Right. First question for 1 point. Can you name me any one? You have to name all of them, just one. Can you name any one of the national animals of the 4 constituent countries?
National animals.
Yep. So each constituent part of the UK has its own symbolic animal.
Oh no. See, I clearly have no idea. I'm just trying to think of how I can guess.
Okay.
Hmm. Hmm. All right, so my mind is currently on the story of Saint George and the Dragon. Isn't Saint George your like patron saint? Maybe not yours. One of the patron saints.
Mm-hmm.
But the dragon doesn't seem like it would be like a symbol. That seems like it would be the enemy. So I don't think a dragon is very likely. Also, it's a mythical creature. Um. Hmm. Uh, I feel like I've seen a lot of like lions on British crests, but I don't know if that's just because they think lions are cool, or if it's because it's actually like a representative animal. There are no lions in Britain, are there?
Well,
Man,
I'd hope not.
I know so little. It's astonishing. I'm just gonna guess a lion because I can't think of anything else.
You're correct, Rook. Lion is one of them.
All
Very
right.
good. Lion is the national animal of England. You're right. It's not an English animal. It must come from maybe Richard Lionheart, one of the wasn't he a king at one point? of England,
Yeah,
or
yeah, he was in the Crusades. Yeah.
Right. So I think it might be something to do with that. But yeah, you're right. That on a lot of the sort of royal or crests, and even the football team's crest has lions on it. If you go to Trafalgar Square in London, there are lion statues all around it. So yeah,
Cool.
not a very English animal, but yes, lion is a correct answer. You're gonna hate yourself when you hear the others.
Okay.
Um, well, the first one I'll mention, Northern Ireland, I guess, depending on how you view Northern Ireland, maybe doesn't have a national animal because it's kind of weird the way because it's such a recent construction, right?
Hmm.
But looking on Wikipedia, its official entry is that it's the Irish elk, which is
Ooh.
extinct from a
Uh-oh.
long, long, long time ago. So it's not even a living animal. So that's a problem. But anyway, I'm going to say, apparently, according to Wikipedia, it's the Irish elk. They found
Well, it
it.
sounds very nice. It's about the same logic as the British lion, I suppose.
I, well, I hope. I don't think lions were extinct to England. I
Well,
guess. Well, I hope
they're not
not.
extinct, but they're not there, are they?
Well, that's true. Yeah. That's true. They found the at least they found the elk in like bog remains there. So they found
Okay.
like fossilized proof of it. The other two you'll hate because you did
Okay.
say when you would describe it, you were like, "Well, dragon, but dragon's not an animal; it's a mythical creature." Well, the
Yeah.
dragon is the national animal of Wales,
Oh
and
wow.
it's on its flag as well. But you're right. The
What?
St.
Wait.
George story is the patron saint of England, not Wales.
Oh, okay.
And
Oh man, I wish I knew more about Wales now. That's cool.
it's very cool. And then the Scottish one, you'll probably flip out even more. The national animal of Scotland is a unicorn,
Ooh, another mythological creature.
another mythological creature, and the enemy of the lion, apparently.
Oh, weird.
But never mind, you got lion, so you get the point.
That's right. All right, I'll take
That's
it.
another point for Rook. Right, you'll love this one. Can you name any of the national flowers of the constituent parts of the UK?
Oh, this one, I feel like I've heard that there is a thistle. It's Scotland, right? The Scotland thistle.
That's what you're going for?
That's what I'm going for.
Very confident, and you're spot on. You went for the Scottish one. Well done.
Yes.
You got the thistle, absolutely. Do you know any of the others?
No.
England's the rose, which might be.
Ooh.
Um, and also in Catalonia, the patron saint is the same as in England. They call it Geordie, but it's George, it's the
Ooh.
same. And on St. George's Day, it's very typical for people to gift roses to each other.
That's
Um,
cool. Also, now I'm realizing something about someone's username.
right, right. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. That's right. That's right.
Yep.
Wales has two. The flower is the daffodil, which is, I don't know if you got them in
Ooh.
the States, like this sort of really bright, normally
Yes.
yellow, but you can get white daffodils as well.
Yes. Yeah, I have very fond memories of going to the Daffodil Festival growing up in my local area.
Oh, well, there you go
Hmm.
then. You do have daffodils, clearly.
I do. I
um,
like Wales a lot, man. Just from this
I
quiz,
know,
they,
you
they
have
got
to.
a dragon. They got daffodils. These are things that are very close to my heart.
Well, I don't know. The other thing is, Wales also has another national plant. I should probably, rather than a flower, the leek. Are you a fan of leek as a vegetable?
Eh,
Not so much.
I'm so on leeks. I don't have a problem with them,
Oh,
but I don't love them either.
don't worry, Welsh people. I adore leeks. It's fine.
That's good.
and
Someone here absolutely loves leeks.
and for Ireland, you've got the shamrock. Um,
Oh,
right
of
on our
course. I
symbol.
should have. I should have known.
That's okay. Tell you
I
what,
should
you
have.
got the thistle. You got the thistle.
Yep.
You did
Yep.
your
I'm
job.
happy about. Well, that one I knew. I didn't 100% know, but I was pretty confident. That one I've looked up in Bloodborne.
There you go.
The this is sort of a wild goose chase, but there's like this one enemy boss that if you look at it just the right way looks a lot like the logo for the Encyclopedia Britannica. And so I was like, what
Ah,
is the logo for the Encyclopedia Britannica? And I looked it up and it was a thistle. And I was like,
of
oh, where does that come
course.
from? It was the Scottish
Yeah,
thistle. And I was like, aha.
right. You're right. I never thought about that. You're right. It is the thistle, the encyclopedia. Wow.
Hmm.
Right. It doesn't matter how you get your knowledge, as long as you get the knowledge, right? Doesn't matter how you get
That's
it.
right.
Right, question number 3. Can you name for me the current monarch of the UK? Because obviously it's not a republic, it's a monarchy. Can you name the current monarch? And I'm going to also be a bit pedantic. I don't need just the name, I need like the cardinal number to go with it. Is it called
Oh,
cardinal
okay.
number?
Well, I was gonna say I could get this one, and then you said that about the cardinal number. Um, I'm pretty sure it's King Charles because that's been in the news, and I'm gonna guess that he's number 8.
No. I'll give you half a point for the
Okay,
Charles. I'll give you half a point. It's King Charles the Third.
the third. Okay, I was way off.
That's okay. You get half a point. But you're right. So yeah, see, the news that our long-serving queen died a couple of years ago obviously spread everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of weird because when she died, she was so old that the majority of the UK population had had no other monarch in their lifetime. So cue the
Yeah,
entire country panicking, going, "What happens now?"
yeah. It's an
And
interesting it's an interesting thing that you get with monarchies. In Japan, they still officially measure years by the like regnal name of the emperor. So,
wow.
yeah, so we're currently living in the Reiwa era. I don't know what like number year of the Reiwa era it is because I haven't lived in Japan for a while. But it was a big deal when that like reign officially shifted over. And
Oh.
a very long reigning emperor, Emperor Hirohito, most famous for being involved in World War II,
Hmm.
um, he reigned for something like 62, 63 years. I don't remember the exact number, something like that, because I was like my birth year is Reiwa, not Reiwa, is not Heisei. Why am I Showa? It's Showa 61. So
Ah, okay.
yeah, so his regnal name, even though he's Emperor Hirohito, the name that they use for his reign is the Showa era. And so they would measure things from like the first year of Showa all the way up to the 60 somethingth.
Goodness. Well, it
Yeah.
was some,
And
it's something.
so
It was something we'd written in our list of topics to talk about because obviously, US, absolutely not a monarchy. But
nope.
then you got Spain is, and the UK is, and then obviously Japan, you got the emperor and everything. So it was something I wanted to talk about, in another podcast, the your perspective of going from a republic then suddenly to a monarchy, and I didn't know to what extent the monarchy really played a role in Japanese society and then UK society and so on. So, wow, we'll have to definitely go into that topic. There's clearly a lot to digest there.
Well, yes and no. It doesn't impact things as much as you would think, but there is some interesting stuff there. I agree.
We can bump it up the list then, and we can go on to it.
Yeah, but obviously it's the same sort of thing, right? You get a transition from someone who's been defining your like calendar for 60 plus years. It's like
Right.
what happens now?
Especially if it's been a very long reigning monarch, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So maybe this was also in the news, but maybe harder, maybe not as widespread, perhaps, especially in American media. We'll have to see. Can you name for me the current Prime Minister of the UK? If anybody doesn't know, Prime Minister is our term for the head of government. The monarch, in this case King Charles III, is the head of state, but the Prime Minister is our head of government. We don't have a president. Prime Minister is a head of government because we've got the head of state and we have other, like, go on an upper chamber and stuff. So yeah, the representative of the UK in terms of the political uh, realm is the Prime Minister. Do you know the current Prime Minister?
I do not.
Okay.
I probably should, but I don't. I know it recently changed, but I don't. I couldn't tell you either one. So I'm
That's
just gonna
okay.
take a loss on this one.
Okay, you'll just take the hit. His
Yep.
name is Keir Starmer. So Keir Starmer, I should say, because he's got a knighthood. Yeah, so you're right. Well, it was actually the beginning of the summer, right? There was an election in the UK, and the ruling Conservative Party got absolutely walloped out of office, and now you got the Labour Party in charge. So yeah, he's there. Okay, so no point for that, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one in the general knowledge section is okay. How do I explain this in a concise way? Um, you've got the UK, right? And then you've got the overseas
Mm-hmm.
territories and the crown dependencies that we mentioned before. There is also an association that the United Kingdom and lots of other sovereign countries are part of. It's a voluntary association, and all the countries normally share some sort of cultural tie to the United Kingdom in terms of truly culture or language. A lot of them are English speaking countries, either as first language or as secondary languages. And a lot of them, well, probably most of them, would have been part of the British Empire back in the day when the empire was, more of a thing. But nowadays, a lot of all of them are independent countries or sovereign states in their own right, but they collaborate together. They kind of have a mini Olympic Games involving all these
Oh,
countries, and often the king will go and visit these countries. A lot of them still recognize King Charles as the head of state, the monarch of the country, even though they're an independent country. Um, can you name this group, this like association of countries?
no. No, I can't.
And no stabs in the dark.
No, I can't even think of how I would go about thinking of that one.
That's okay. No problem.
It's
It's
not the
called.
Empire anymore, clearly.
Well, yeah, it's not called the Empire. Yeah, exactly. And if it did, it would be very popular if it was called that name.
No. Oh, wait.
Um,
Maybe I have heard of this one. Maybe it's the Commonwealth.
Spot on. It's the Commonwealth.
Ah,
I think there's a
I
there's
didn't.
a more official term like a Commonwealth of Nations, but I'll give you the Commonwealth. That's what we all call it. I'll give you the point.
I didn't think. I didn't think that was an official league. I thought that was just something people said.
No, no, no. It's an official thing. They have the Commonwealth Games. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, cool.
So, obviously, you guys are not part of it, but
No.
Canada is, Australia is, New Zealand is,
Hmm.
I think South Africa is, I think Jamaica might be, I think. Oh, there's a whole thing recently. I think isn't Barbados going to leave, or Barbados will stay inside the Commonwealth, but it wants to become a republic, something like that. It wants to become a republic, something like that. India still is, despite all the
Oh,
the
wow.
trouble between Britain. It's still part of the Commonwealth. I believe it's still part of the Commonwealth. I might be wrong on that. But yeah, I don't know how many countries there are now. How about I quickly look it up while a rook contemplates the next topic.
Yeah.
Commonwealth of
Hmm.
Nations.
So that's the full. The full name is the Commonwealth of Nations.
Yep, it's often just called the Commonwealth, so that's why I give you the point. 56 member states. So I'm looking at the map. Canada. There's a lot of Caribbean states. India is. Pakistan is. Bangladesh is. Is that Papua New Guinea? I think is. Is that
Hmm.
Malaysia? Yeah, I think Malaysia is. There's a lot of African countries as well. Um. So yeah, there you go.
I'm still surprised it's a real thing. Like it's actually official.
Yeah, it's an official thing. So there you go, Rook. Going well so far. Three and a half, three and a
Uh,
half, and three. Going very well. I think should have upped your target, but never mind. Anyway.
apparently, I should have. Although to be fair, you have been very kind to me. You've been giving me points and half points and things where I don't necessarily deserve them. But I have surprised myself with the randomness of some of my guesses, like getting into the right zone.
Where would you like to go now?
Okay, let's go with sports because I feel like that's going to be another weakness of mine.
Okay, and as I said, I've tried to make this a Rook friendly, and maybe this first question will kind of see what I'm going at here. Can you
All right.
name any one current Premier League team? And just to be clear, if anyone who maybe doesn't know, Premier League is the official top division in British football, soccer. So there are 20 teams in the top league in the Premier League. You just need to name me one.
I don't know anything about soccer, man. Uh, it's I don't know who's a famous soccer player. Beckham. Is he still playing?
Okay. I asked you to name a team, but the good thing is the next question is actually ask you to name a footballer as well, past or
No,
present. So if you want to do
I've
Beckham as your guess for that,
yeah. Let's just move him down one. U.S. for a team.
yeah.
Ah, See, and here I thought you went straight for a player. I guess I wasn't listening. I was just heard.
You
I
just went
heard
football, and you're
Lakers.
like, oh
Yeah.
no. You just didn't hear the
Yep.
rest of it.
That's right. My brain shut down. Uh, what's something I've heard people complain about who care about football? Isn't there a team that's called Arsenal?
Is that your guess? You think there's a team called Arsenal?
I think there's a team called Arsenal. I don't know if it's British.
Oh. Well, the thing is, it's also got to be English because the Premier League's England, right? So it's not even
Right.
British. You got to get it England.
Specifically England. That's the one team I've heard of, so I'm going to go with them. I'm going to say Arsenal's a team.
Well, good news is Arsenal is a football team. It is an English football team, and it is in the Premier League. So you get a point.
Ah,
And I'm also
look
very
at
happy
that.
because that's the team that I like. So thank you for that, Aruk.
Ah,
I'm really happy
that's,
you chose my team and not Roscoe's team. So that's very good. Thank you for that.
that's literally the one team I've ever heard of because
And I
I
don't
feel
think
like
I've
I've heard
mentioned it. I
people.
don't think I've mentioned it to you. So I don't know where you got that from.
No, I hear people complain about them on podcasts I listen to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I okay. I shrunk.
yeah, totally random.
Totally
Totally
random.
random.
I mean, hey, it works. It works, right?
It
Um,
does.
Also, maybe potentially a strange name for the team, right? It's not named
Oh
after a
yeah.
location. It comes from the fact that when the team originally formed, a lot of football teams were working class, and they were actually made up of company. Some of them were regional and based on villages or cities. But in this case, it was the Woolwich, which is an area of London, the Woolwich Arsenal, like the gunnery, I think it's called, right, where they do all the cannon
Hmm.
building and all that sort of stuff. You see how long ago this was, um,
Hmm.
and they had a football team, and it was called Woolwich Arsenal. And then, very
Ah.
controversially, they migrated from the south of the river to north of the River Thames.
Hmm.
So they're now called a North London team, but then the true North London team, Tottenham Hotspur, don't like it that they invaded their patch. They also don't like it because Arsenal normally beat them nowadays. So yeah,
Oh.
Arsenal are having a good spell at the moment, so we're enjoying it as much as possible. Especially since most of my lifetime supporting Arsenal, they haven't actually done very well. So I'm enjoying it while
Oh
it
no.
lasts. If anyone don't know, the Arsenal team is quite famous in relatively recent history for going the entire league season unbeaten, and they won the league.
Ooh.
And they're called the Invincibles for that. And they almost won a couple of years later. They almost won the biggest competition in Europe, not just in England. We got all the best teams playing each other in Europe. They almost won that as well. And then
Wow.
since then, it's been a bit of a downer. But now we're
Oh.
playing better. We haven't won the league, but just because we're competing against another team who are just too superior, and it's always impossible to beat them. But you never know. We've pushed them twice the last 2 seasons, so it might be this season, but we'll have to see. It's going to be very difficult. But very good. You get a point.
Cool.
So the next question was going to be name any British footballer, past or present. It could be male or female. You said
Yeah, it's
Beckham.
not
I
going
don't
to
know if
help me.
do
Beckham.
you want do you
Beckham
want
is the only player. I don't know his first name. I don't know if it's a guy. I could be wrong. I feel like I've seen. There's a movie, Bend It Like Beckham. That's so. There's a Beckham in football,
ah
soccer, whatever you call it.
right. Okay, so is that your guess?
That's my guess.
Very good. David Beckham is a British footballer. And I
David
didn't say you
Beckham.
had to get his first name. Surnames are normally fine in quizzes, so you get the point for that. Oh god, we have to get. How do you know the film Bennett like Beckham? That's so random.
I like movies.
Well, I mean, fair enough, but it's a very random thing to come across.
I haven't
You know.
seen it, but you
Oh,
go see movies. You watch a lot of trailers.
oh, I thought you'd seen it. Oh, I like that
No,
film.
no.
Oh,
Well, I'm sure it's good. I remember from back in the day hearing a lot of good reviews. But
oh,
it's a movie about football. Why would I go see it?
oh, because it's not just about football. It's cultural. It's about. I mean, I'm not really spoiling the plot too much. I'll give you the basic premise. It's about are they from Pakistan or India? Oh, I should. I think it's in. No, it is India because he talks about India later on in the film. It's about an Indian family who, because if people don't know, there are a lot of Pakistani and Indian and maybe I guess Bangladeshi families as well. Came across to the UK because of the Commonwealth and that sort of stuff. So you got this Indian family who have got two daughters, and the youngest of which is really into football, really likes Beckham, and all she wants to do is kind of run around a park all day playing football, and her parents have different ideas and want her to be a lawyer for the rest of her life, kind of thing, and find a nice husband and settle down, blah 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 blah, right? And it's basically
Yeah.
about this struggle with her trying to fight against her parents, and then also this is filmed in the mid 2000s. It's not like nowadays where women's football is starting to build up its popularity. So she's fighting against the fact that it's women's football, and also
Hmm.
she is not, she is, I don't know if she was born in England or not, but she's from, Indian heritage, which then there's a
Hmm.
racial element to it, and then there's the cultural expectation of her parents, like, no, you have to do this particular type of job, you shouldn't run around with guys playing football and all this sort of thing. So it's a good film.
Yeah, maybe I'll check it out now. And by the way, like I'm sort of being facetious when I say like why would I watch some sports movie? Because I do actually like sports movies even if I'm not a huge fan of sports. They tend to have a very solid like structure for a good drama, I think.
Right, right. It's just as long as it's just not only the sport. There's other things around it, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Although I am watching an anime right now that's called Haikyuu, which is Japanese for volleyball, and it's pretty much just
Oh,
volleyball. It's quite good. It's like addictive.
there you go then.
Yeah.
Bend it like back. So we're gonna do an Alter Bridge watch along at some point. Maybe I have to do a Bend it like Beckham watch along now.
Ooh, maybe I won't watch it right away then. Maybe I'll save it for a watch along.
Okay, next one. You said in the last podcast you didn't watch the Olympics, so this is going to be a
Correct.
problem. Um, the United Kingdom team, we often call it Team GB. That's the way we sort of shorten it. Team GB won 65 medals at the 2024
Ooh.
Summer Olympics. Really sorry, I wrote this question before the Paralympics, and I didn't watch much of the Paralympics, but I'm sure we did very well. I know we did very well. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about the Summer Olympics. So they won 65 medals, and that includes 14 gold medals.
Wow.
Can you name me any one sport in which Team GB won a gold medal?
All right. From the last podcast, I know I probably shouldn't guess track and field. Um,
Because I said, right, that the Americans dominated.
yes. What are Olympic sports? I'm thinking of Winter Olympic sports now. I'm thinking of like figure skating. That's clearly wrong. Hmm. Hmm. What are Olympic sports? Is basketball an Olympic sport? I'm going to guess basketball.
No, afraid not.
Okay.
I think I may.
All right. That's fine.
I can't remember if I said it in a podcast or was it to somebody else. Yeah, the British aren't the best at basketball. We leave it to the Spanish and the Americans to normally duel it
No,
out.
okay.
But Spain didn't do very well this time. Ironically enough, you could have said athletics. You would have got the point. We did do well in the relays. I think we got at least one. I think it was in the women's we got a silver or a bronze, and then in the men's I think we got a bronze. In the
Oh.
was it 400 meters relay? I think it was. So there was definitely at least one of the relays we got a medal in. You could have had rowing. We're quite good at that.
Oh, rowing is an Olympic sport.
You could have had
That's
cycling,
cool.
either track cycling or mountain biking.
Ooh.
Either would have done. Equestrian or questionism would have
Oh, I
counted.
should have guessed that. I
Or
knew that was an
question
Olympic sport.
jumping. So there's eventing and jumping. I don't know the difference now, but never mind. That's fine. Sailing,
Ooh.
shooting,
Sailing's an Olympic sport.
mm-hmm, sport climbing, swimming. We're very good at swimming. That's one of the things we're really good at.
Oh.
Trampoline gymnastics and triathlon.
Oh.
So there you go. We got three in
Cool.
rowing. That's why there's not 13 mentioned or 14. So there you go.
Nice.
That's okay. Right.
Yeah,
Number
I feel
four.
like I didn't even know half of those were Olympic sports.
That's okay. Not a problem. They to be fair, they do change the sports. Some of them are really locked in, but some of them, like sport climbing, for example, is quite a recent thing. I think it came in the last Olympics, I think. The 2020
Hmm.
Olympics, I think. So yeah, they keep changing them, so not a problem.
Yep.
Right. Question number 4. The words run, over, and wicket, they're all separate words, that it's not a phrase. Run, over,
Mhm.
and wicket are terms from which sport which is very popular in, I was going to say the UK, but let's say England, because that's probably more realistic.
Ah, see, I feel like I know this one because this is one of those things that you like hear about. I think this is cricket.
Spot on. Cricket's the correct answer.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
It's like that's the
Um,
sport we don't have that everybody loves in England. It's cricket.
right, exactly, and it's very common too in the countries that used to be part of like the British Empire slash Commonwealth. So India is really good at cricket. Pakistan, Bangladesh, Australia, South Africa. There's a country called the West Indies, which are also very
Ooh.
good at cricket as well. There are some other countries like the Netherlands who start playing, especially in the shorter form of the game. But they're kind of the main ones, the most famous. I don't know nowadays if England are good at cricket or not. I don't know what's
Hmm.
happening. I've kind of lost track of it, but never mind. And then the last one in the sports section is you got three
Yes.
so far, so you could make it four. This could be your best round so far. Can you name me
Unbelievable.
the very famous tennis tournament called a Grand Slam that takes place in London every year in June?
They call it a Grand Slam?
Yeah, there are four really famous tennis tournaments, and they're all called Grand Slams.
Huh.
But the one that takes place in England, in London, has a very specific name.
I thought that was a baseball term.
Well,
I thought that was like if you get a run with the bases loaded, that's a Grand Slam.
I don't know. I don't know about that. That'll be in the American quiz.
Maybe. Okay. Tennis tournaments. I've heard of a tennis tournament. I've heard of the Wimbledon. Is it the Wimbledon?
Spot on. Wimbledon's the correct answer because it's named after the area of London
Unbelievable.
that it takes part in. Yeah. So you got the US Open, the Australian Open, French Open, and then Wimbledon.
Oh, that's that one sort of sticks out, doesn't it?
It does a bit. Do you know what surface it's played on?
No, I don't. What are surfaces that people play tennis on? They play on clay, they play on grass, and they play
Mm-hmm.
on something else probably.
Right,
Um,
it's like hard court surface they normally call it.
okay. So I'm gonna guess clay.
No, the French Open's on clay. It's actually grass.
Okay.
So you've got Wimbledon that's on grass, French Open's on
Hmm.
clay, and then the other two, US Open and Australian Open, are on hard court. It's kind of like this
Okay.
kind of concretey sort of type surface. There
Yeah.
you go. There you go, Rook. 4 points from sport.
I can't believe
Excellent.
it.
Defining expectations. Look at this.
It's wild.
Right. So where do you want to go now?
Okay. All right. So if I remember correctly, we have histories, oddities, entertainment, and words and phrases one and two.
Right.
Um, let's do some oddities.
Oddities. Okay, so just 10 questions. We'll just go through the list. Right.
Okay.
First question. What colour is normally associated with British post boxes and phone boxes?
Red.
Spot on. That was very easy.
Mm-hmm.
They're like the symbol of the UK, right? So it's very common. Very good.
I've seen those before.
Right. In the UK, you can find over 100 post boxes which are actually painted gold rather
Ooh.
than their usual red colour. Why?
They're really old.
They could be. I don't know if
They're
that's the
like
correct answer. I can't verify that. I don't know
they're
that.
like so. My thinking is that they're like the first post boxes.
So like literally the hundred oldest ones are gold.
Right. Like the original postal system used these post boxes.
No, sorry.
Okay. That's
Swing
fine.
and a miss. It was actually about a topic that we were talking about in the last section.
Oh.
Funny enough. Um, 12 years ago, London hosted the Summer Olympic Games, and because the UK
Oh.
did particularly well, they painted one postbox gold for every single gold medal that the UK won in the Summer Olympics and in the Paralympic Games.
Oh,
Um,
very cool.
and they actually painted them in the hometown of the athlete that won.
Oh, that's
Uh,
a really cool idea.
in Edinburgh, for example, I'm aware of at least three, all for the same athlete. I've seen two of them. I don't think I've ever come across the third one, but there's a website where you can find the locations of all of them. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
That's pretty
So
cool. I like that idea.
It was really neat. It was a very temporary thing, but people loved them so much. We were like, let's keep them. To be fair, this was 12 years ago when the country was a lot more pessimistic. That's not even a word. Optimistic and positive about everything.
Ah,
Everything's kind of turned to shit since then, unfortunately. But
well,
never mind.
that's a
But
shame. Yeah.
that's what that is. It's for the Olympic gold medals from the London 2012 Olympics. Right. Question number 3 for you, Rook.
Hmm.
Mallard, the Flying Scotsman, and Rocket are famous types of what?
Brains.
Yay! Just to make that clear, that conversation, the last podcast, was not scripted. I did not mean to give you that information ahead of time. I'm really happy you remembered.
Yep.
Very good. Right. Okay. Question number 4. What is the legal drinking age in the UK? Now, this is a little bit of a grey area because it depends on how you define drinking age. So the way I'm going to define it, for the purpose of this question alone, is the age at which you are able to consume an alcoholic drink that you yourself have bought.
All right. I'm gonna guess 20.
Incorrect.
All right.
Is that the age in the US?
No, that's the age in Japan. The U.S. it's 21.
Oh, in the UK it's 18.
Nice.
You can actually drink at the age of 16 in a pub. Well, I made it
Ooh.
clear they're drinking publicly. Obviously, if you're at home, you can do whatever the heck you want, right?
Hmm.
If your parents give you alcohol, I mean, or you hide it from them, I mean, what are they going to do? But in a restaurant, you can drink alcohol under the age of 18, as long as you're above the age of 16, and as long as you're accompanied by an adult, and as long as you're eating a meal. You're not just drinking.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so, but the rule that the age of which you can buy alcohol yourself and consume it
Hmm.
is 18.
Yeah, I had heard that
Um,
was lower in Europe.
right. So it must be really fun for all the Americans who go off to what you call college,
Right.
university, and then technically you can't legally drink. Whereas here, when people go to university, they're normally either turned 18 or they're not quite 18 yet. So I was 18.
Hmm.
Not that I drink. We talked about it before, but I was 18. So all the people who are 18 when they start university, go like, yeah, we go out and drink. Then meanwhile, all the people who are 17 were like, oh, can we not stay in and drink? Because they couldn't go out to drink legally. And then
Yeah.
suddenly, the minute they turned 18, they're like, yay, party!
Yep.
All
When
the
I went to
nightclubs were then
Japan,
open to them.
when I went to Japan, they because of that 1 year discrepancy, when I was studying abroad during my time in college, I um, I was 20, so I could legally drink in Japan, but I couldn't legally drink when I was in the U.S. And it didn't
Really?
matter to me because I didn't, I don't
Don't
drink
drink either. Yeah.
as we've covered. But my host family like really wanted me to like go out drinking, and I was just like, no.
That's not
I
what I
don't
do.
drink. I don't want to drink. I'm not interested. Thank you very much. Yeah.
So I think
They're
this
like,
might have
but
to
you
be.
can do this. You can't do it in the US. You can do it here. I was like, I don't, it doesn't matter to me.
It's something I wanted to talk about. I mean, we'll have to do a podcast at some point about the Abroad in Japan book that I
Mm.
uh, that I read, because one of the things that Chris Broad, the author, talks about is the drinking culture in Japan, and he really embraced the drinking culture to the extreme.
Oh,
So
wow.
when we have that podcast, I do want to talk about that in terms of,
Yeah.
if it was generally true that Japanese people really do like to drink, and then how
It's
you,
true.
as a teetotaler, sort of had to fit in with that sort of society, right? So,
Very poorly.
well, I mean, don't blame me. I would do
That's
the
the
same.
short,
So don't you
that's the short
worry.
answer. Yeah.
Okay, question number 5. Due to broadcasting restrictions on the media, photos of what animal are frequently seen on social media and online press on UK general election day? So basically, when we got a general election, like what happened a couple of months ago,
Hmm.
the press can't talk about the election. They can only literally say the election is happening, but they can't talk about the parties or the promises or pledges or anything. So
Hmm.
to try and fill the void in the, especially on the online news, lots of images and photographs of a certain type of animal appear on social media and the press websites and things. What animal do you think is very commonly seen?
A lion.
Oh, because of being the national animal and everything.
National animal. Yeah.
No, good
No.
effort, but no, I'm afraid
Okay.
not. It's something a little bit more benign. It's just dogs.
Oh. Oh,
Um,
okay.
because people take their dog for a walk and they go to the polling station to vote at the same time. So they take the picture of the dog outside the polling stations, going, "Look, I voted." And literally the whole of the
Oh.
BBC's like news feed is just full of pictures of dogs and other animals, but mostly dogs.
Oh, wow.
It's
Okay.
very cute.
That is cute.
Right. Okay. Other than the monarch, which already establishes King Charles, other than the monarch, can you name any other person who features on the banknotes for the Bank of England? If you want, I can give you some clues, and you won't lose any points for me giving you clues. If you want some clues, I'll give you clues.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a clue.
Okay, there are four people. One of them is a former prime minister. One of them is an author known for her period novels. One is a painter known for violent marine paintings. And one is a 20th century computer scientist. You
Oh
can guess
no.
any of those that you want. You don't have to name them all.
That's not gonna help. Oh no. Um, Boy, what a list of professions.
Right.
I don't think I'm gonna get any of these. I think I'm just gonna say I don't know.
Oh. You
I mean,
do know these names. That's the thing. Like, if I pushed you, you know these people. Well, you know probably at least two of them.
okay.
So if we focus on the first one, what is the most famous prime minister of the UK history, most likely?
Uh, was Kitchener prime minister? He was big in World War One, right?
Oh, wasn't he a general? I thought he was a general, not a.
He might have been a general. He was a higher up. He was. They were like constantly talking about him and his plan. Sort of remember that from history.
Oh, he was a
I
British
guess
Army
Winston.
officer and colonel administrator. Yeah, I don't think he was prime minister.
Okay. I guess Winston Churchill's famous. Is he on your currency?
Yeah, he is actually. Yeah, Winston Churchill was the former prime minister. Yeah, probably the most famous prime minister
Oh, the
ever.
former prime minister. There you go. Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think you're
Um,
probably right.
the other one, the author you actually know because it's come up in just random conversation recently. An author
Oh,
known for period novels. Female.
yeah, I was gonna guess the female.
Yeah.
Has it has it come up in conversation recently?
Uh-huh.
Boy, I feel stupid.
Because
No, I've.
somebody very near and dear to my heart attended a festival about said author.
Oh, but they weren't period. They were contemporary. Jane Austen.
Oh, but in terms of like period drama novels.
Yeah, but they weren't. Wait, what do you mean when you say that? Because when I hear period dramas, I hear like things that were set in the past as like in general. Is there like when you
It,
say period novel, are you talking specifically about a period?
is that not is that oh dear, do I not know the definition of a period novel? Maybe not. Maybe this might be my fault then.
I could be wrong too. I just when I hear the term period novel, I don't think of a novel that was written a long time ago. I think of a novel that is like written now about a previous time.
Oh, intriguing. Well, I guess I don't know actually. Would they have been contemporaries when she wrote them? Very possibly.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, she wrote for her own time. Yeah, I love Jane Austen. She's a great author. She's one of the people who like
Oh.
opened my eyes to like writing in the like the classics. Like I like throughout the history of like my like loving to read lots of different kinds of books. It's I've gone through these expansions where when I was a kid I would be like, why would I ever read anything except children's books? And then I got older, and I'd start to read some books that were aimed at people who were like my age as I aged, and was like, oh, now I get it. And then
Ah.
I would get to like it took me until I was in high school, I think. There was some assignment and I was like, classics are all like stuffy and boring. And I started reading Jane Austen and I was like, whoa, no, they're not. They're like funny and entertaining.
Ah. Okay, I guess it must be based upon me. I'm ignorant of this topic, but it must be the way we would call them period dramas in the modern day. But I guess if you're viewing it from the perspective of when they were written, then I guess they're not period dramas. But they are set, I guess, in a particular historical period. But then all books are, I guess. So it's
Yeah.
a bit of a moot point, I suppose. Oh, I
Yeah,
feel bad
that's
now.
what threw me off. I don't know which one of us is wrong, but that's what threw me off. That's
I
okay.
mean, I will happily take the hit on that one and say that was my fault, and that lost point is not that was not on you.
Yeah, I should have gotten Winston Churchill. So
Okay. I get the painter was Turner. I don't know if that's
I don't know any. No,
okay.
I don't
And
know
then the
painters. I don't
20th
know Turner.
century computer scientist was Alan Turing, the one who broke the
Oh,
or helped break the Enigma code.
okay, yeah, yeah. I probably should have known Turing as well. So yep, that's just me not being very smart. There you go.
Okay. Well, then I'll take partial blame then in terms of not defining the novels. I guess you'd call them, I know, the era Regency novels. I just looked it up, or
Yeah,
romance
yeah.
novels,
Regency.
or I
Yeah,
guess now you'd
romance
call them
novels.
period drama novels or whatever. Okay, that's all
I
right.
don't know. I don't know. Maybe you would. I wouldn't. But
Fair
again, I
enough.
might be working with a weird definition of period.
That's okay. I could be very wrong. It's not my expertise, but there you go. Okay, next one. Can you name the Welsh settlement, which is the UK's smallest city, with a population of only 1,800 people?
I mean, I didn't know. You know how much I know about Wales. We found it all out today.
We found your weakness. Your kryptonite is
Did
Wales.
well, did you know that their national animal is a dragon?
Well, there you go.
I just found that out. It's Dragon Town. No.
I guess if you're really into vexillology and you knew the flag, I guess you could have guessed it from that. But still, yeah, that'd be the only way, I suppose.
Yeah. I don't think I'm gonna get this one. Cardiff. It's the place in Wales that I just learned about.
Oh
It
no, afraid not.
can't be right because it's the capital. Yeah.
Exactly. Cardiff's a tad bigger than that. Tad bigger.
Yeah.
It's called St David's.
Oh, okay.
It's
No, I was
it's
never gonna get that. Never. St. David's.
it's really weird. Cities in the UK. There's a really good YouTube video by Matt Men about UK cities, and most UK cities were the city is not a like it's like a term in the UK that is not fixed in terms of its meaning. It's basically the monarch decides if a town becomes a city, and normally they were
Oh.
for initially religious significance, and then they
Mm-hmm.
became for based on size and like industrial importance, and then I think it was I don't know which monarch it was. I think maybe it might be Elizabeth II, who was like, "Oh, I like St. David. St. David's becomes a city." It's like there's less than 2,000 people who live here.
Wow.
But there you go. Mental, bit
Yeah, I
wacky,
think
but there you go.
I think I remember looking up in the States. It's not like to do with obviously it's not to do with the king because we don't have one. But I do remember at some point being surprised that like some places around me are towns and they're bigger than places that are like called cities. And I was or something like towns versus villages or so. I don't remember exactly what it was. This is clearly a very illustrative example, but I do remember learning that like the defining thing that was different about them was something to do with like the structure of their like founding documents or something. So
Oh,
I it was a similarly arcane reason. I used to think it was purely a matter of population, but it's actually something to do with their like structure.
because I'm trying to remember from that Mapmen video, they mentioned different examples. Some of them are like some countries do it purely based on size. Isn't it to do with like municipal government in the US?
That's what I mean. It's some sort of governmental thing,
Ah,
some
okay,
like
right,
governmental
fine,
structure, as
right,
opposed
okay.
to pure population.
Right. Okay. But there are some where it's just purely if it's over a certain threshold, it's a city. Um, in the Spanish language, there isn't really a word for city. It's just village or
Oh,
town, which
oh,
then leads
interesting.
to quite interesting distinctions of the word village. It's
Hmm.
pueblo in Spanish, and when when my wife initially translated the word pueblo to village for me, I expected, what I grew up in, like this tiny little village of maybe, I don't know, three, like hundreds of people, if that.
Hmm.
And then we'd be going through, wherever on the bus when we were traveling or whatever, be like, here's a village. And I look around and go, "This ain't no village.
Yeah.
this is a this is a fucking town."
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's wacky.
That's one of those interesting like differences between languages.
Yeah, and culture and stuff. It's awesome.
Right.
Okay, number 8. Every year there is an event at Cooper's Hill in Gloucestershire in which participants race 200 yards, so about 180 meters, down a very steep hill chasing after an object. The winner of the race is the first to the bottom of the hill, and they claim the object that they're chasing after as a prize. What is the object that they are chasing?
I feel like I've heard about this one on a comedy quiz show. I think this is cheese.
Very good. It's a wheel of cheese. That's a point for a rook. There you go. Yeah, the cheese
It's
rolling
weird,
race or
weird
festival,
enough
whatever it's
that
called.
yep, weird enough that I've heard of it.
Right. There you go. It's cheese. Right. Number 9. Can you name me the national poet of Scotland who lived in the 18th century? His adaptation of Auld Lang Syne is sung at New Year's Eve in the UK and potentially in other countries too.
Oh boy. Trying to think of like old-timey British authors. Is this Spencer?
No,
No. Okay.
no. I don't even know. I
Um,
don't even know who that is. You can
yeah,
tell my ignorance on the subject.
he wrote the Fairy Queen. Let's see. I don't know his first name, so uh, he's probably the wrong nationality too, because I get them all mixed up. Edmund Spencer. He wrote the Fairy Queen. This is the wrong answer, but I'm still looking it up because I'm curious.
Was a poem, but he's English though.
Way, yeah, 1500s too. So
Oh, yes,
way
wrong
off.
century as well. So there's a lot of things wrong with that
Yep.
one. That's okay. Don't worry.
Yep. Terribly wrong. Okay.
It's. Oh, if you've got any other guesses, you can go for it.
Well, I'm trying to think because the one thing that I might stand a chance at is like old timey British literature, but I don't think I'm going to get it. Associated with Old Lang Syne.
I think like the musical aspect of Auld Lang Syne existed, but he created like the lyrical interpretation of it.
Who's the guy who wrote Ulysses? James Joyce?
I've heard of James Joyce, and I've heard of that poem. I don't know if they're the same people, but it's very possible.
Ulysses isn't a poem. I was stretching. It's a book.
Okay.
Famous for popularizing stream of consciousness. But I felt like let me see if I was at least right in the time period for that guy.
So look at the 18th century, so 1700s.
Nope, I was late on that one.
Oh.
Born in the 1880s.
You get somewhere
I'm
in
terrible.
the middle, anyway between Edmund Spencer and James Joyce.
Yep. Okay. I don't think I'm gonna get this one, so I think you better just tell me.
His name is Robert, or was, I should say, because it doesn't exist anymore. Robert Burns.
Robert Burns.
We celebrate his birthday in January of every year, and we read his poems and eat haggis and all that stuff.
Nice. Yeah, I wasn't gonna get that.
Burns Night is so like important that it's kind of, even though the National Day of Scotland is St Andrew's Day, that's in November. People seem to celebrate Burns Night way more.
Oh, nice.
It's kind of like the
That's
National
pretty cool.
Day of Scotland almost. Yeah, it's awesome.
I like the idea of a poet like having that sort of legacy.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And the other thing, like loads of people saying "Auld Lang Syne" at New Year's Eve, and maybe don't even realize that he kind of put the lyrics to it and things. Very neat.
Yeah.
And the last one, a Christmas question for you. What meat is most commonly eaten nowadays on Christmas Day in the UK? What's the traditional meat that people eat on Christmas Day?
The only thing I know about Christmas Day in the UK comes from Dickens, and it's a goose. It's probably way outdated.
Is that your answer?
That's my answer. That's the only thing I can I can think of.
I'm sure there are people who eat geese or goose, I guess how you want to define it, because the food, I guess you'd say goose, on Christmas Day, but it's probably not very common nowadays. It's not the most traditional thing. It's not the expected thing to eat. But I mean, definitely back in the day, Dickens was Victorian era, so I think it's changed quite a lot since then.
I'm sure it has, but it was the only thing I had to go on.
Changed it to a meat that was easier to mass produce.
Okay.
Turkey.
Oh, turkey. Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
Which your Thanksgiving
Yep.
meat, right?
That's why I was gonna say, yeah, we have that for Thanksgiving, so that makes sense.
So what's your Christmas meat then? Or do you not have one? In terms of like
Don't
one that is
really
like very common.
we don't really have one. Some like go-tos are like a Christmas ham. That's not unheard of. Um,
Ah,
some people will also have ham as an alternative for turkey on Thanksgiving. So
right.
yeah, I feel like that's probably the closest thing, but I don't know. It could be there could be another one. I feel like there's another one that I'm missing out. Maybe like roast beef
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
would be another Christmas meat. I think that's fairly common.
Yeah. I'd say like people can pick whatever they want. I think in the UK. I mean, I'm gonna say it, I'm not a huge fan of turkey. It
No,
seems a bit
neither am I.
we don't really eat turkey most of the year because it's a really annoying meat that dries out too quickly. So why not do we suddenly cook it on Christmas Day? I don't even know.
Yep.
So I would personally prefer if it maybe something smaller like a chicken or
Mm.
roast beef or roast ham or something. Or even lamb potentially. I'd be on board with that. But I mean, I would eat turkey, but there's just too much of a risk if it's overcooked. It's awful. So just don't even go there.
You've described my feelings on the matter pretty much exactly.
And the same with Brussels
I'm the
sprouts.
person.
Oh, here's this annoying vegetable that we never eat because it's disgusting. Oh, it's Christmas Day. Let's eat Brussels sprouts. Weird.
I've heard that Brussels sprouts have like literally changed their flavor because they use like a totally different strain nowadays than they did when I was growing up, and
Mmm.
that's then made them a lot more popular than they used to be.
Really? Well, I think they're still disgusting. Especially the
I
if
haven't
you.
had them. I haven't had
Oh,
them lately, so I can't attest to it. But I share your aversion for turkey.
I'm not against turkey, but just yeah, it's just too easy to overcook. Same with chicken,
Oh
to be
well,
honest.
then
If you're not getting.
I feel more strongly than you about turkey.
Oh, I just
I
wouldn't take
still,
the risk. It's probably the most important meal of the year. Don't fuck it up by trying to cook a meat that is just susceptible of overcooking, right? There are ways
yeah,
you can get around it, but still, it's just like, and it's also like, out of all the meats, it's like the least flavorful.
yeah.
You have to add other stuff to it to give it any sort of flavor. It's like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, just get a
That's what
good
people
bit of
tell me.
fat.
I'm like, this is just dry and tasteless. And they're like, well, you gotta pour all the gravy on it. And I'm like, well, then why don't you just have the gravy? What's the point of the turkey?
Oh yeah, I love gravy. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but yeah, I know. Just yeah, any other meat apart from turkey for me. That's just me. But I think it's just
Hmm.
because they're much easier to mass produce and things cheaply as well. So
Yeah, probably.
there you
Horrifying.
go.
I really think there's a strong case to be made if anyone wants to be vegetarian about the terrible
Okay.
ways that we handle animals.
No, I mean ethically, I've got no issue. If you've got an ethical vegetarian, I've got no issue with it now. I
Yep.
think it's very fair argument, to be honest. But there you go. That's again,
Hmm.
that's a personal opinion. There'll be people here saying, no, 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 you're wrong. But never
Yeah.
mind. So there you go. All right. Okay. So 4 points. If I hadn't screwed up number six, then it could have been five. But I'll be strict with you. And say it was you, not me. But it was definitely me.
No,
You
there
can't
were
describe
like
questions correctly.
there were two other answers in there that I should have gotten, so it's totally on me.
Right. Where you want to go now? So we got history,
Yep.
entertainment, and then the British words one. So
Okay, I want to
wait.
save words for last because I feel like I'm going to have the most fun with that.
Hmm.
Um, let's see, history or entertainment. Let's start with entertainment.
Okay. So question number one of entertainment is this: The Mousetrap is the longest running theatre show in the world, with close to 30,000 performances to date. Which famous English crime writer was responsible for its creation?
Ian Rankin.
Oh! Because we talked about that recently, didn't we?
Yes.
Is that your answer?
Yes.
Afraid not. Sorry.
No.
It's too recent to be. It's too no. Ian Rankin's too contemporary. It's got to be an
Oh,
older crime writer than that. Ian Rankin's too contemporary.
older crime writer from Britain.
I should have made it maybe clear that 30,000 performances is inside the same theatre. It's not like it's been pushed out all over the world. The 30,000 performances, from what I understand, is inside the same theatre. So yeah,
Okay.
it's a lot of years. I think it's 60 plus years at this point. So
Oh
yeah, Ian
wow.
Rankin, given he's only maybe just inside his 60s meters of what possible. But that's okay.
Yeah.
He went for something that was topical that we'd spoken about, so that's fine.
Yep. That was at the top of my head. Yep. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
No, but that would be kind of cool, though. No, there is.
That
I'm
would
sure
be
there
cool.
must be plays based upon some of his work, but it's not Arthur Conan Doyle. But again,
Okay.
right genre, and well, at least with Sherlock and that. But no, not him. Very
Hmm.
famous for kind of who done it type of where you suddenly have lots of different possible murder suspects, and then at the end of the book or at the end of the episode if it's on TV, or the end of the play in this case is the mousetrap, all the suspects are in the same room and they're all being accused of who's been the murderer, and then boom, it's revealed.
Agatha Christie.
Agatha Christie is the correct answer. Spot on.
All right.
Yes, 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 yes. And it is very good. I've seen The Mousetrap. It's very good fun. I will obviously not spoil it because that'd be stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But they had to put. It's very interesting when you go and see The Mousetrap at the very end when all the actors come out and they do their bow and everything. They actually announce and say, "You're now part of the secret. You cannot tell
Ooh.
anybody else who the murderer was." Because then
Oh, I
it's
like
then
that.
it breaks the illusion, right? So my wife had seen it.
Yeah.
I saw it with my wife. She'd seen it before, so obviously she knew what was happening, but she could enjoy it a lot more for like the spectacle that it was. Whereas I was seeing it the whole time, they could be the murderer. They could be the murderer. And then obviously then there's an interval as well, and she was like, "So who do you think it is then?" And we spent the whole interval just arguing about who it could be. It was
Oh,
very
that's
good fun.
fun.
Very,
That's
very
great.
fun show to go and see. So if you ever go in
Awesome.
London, go and see the Mousetrap. It's very good fun.
Yeah, that
How do we
sounds
do that?
great.
Do I give you that point?
Up to you. It took me three guesses, so I
I'll
mean,
I'll, I'll give you a half. I'll give you a half a point.
okay, that's fair.
Right, number two. Cillian Murphy is the lead actor in which British TV series, detailing the activities of the gangsters that operated in Birmingham in the period between World War One and World War Two?
Oh man, I have no idea. Uh, I don't even know enough about British TV series to take a guess. I don't think.
So we've gone from a play that is very old and still ongoing to now a TV series that is relatively recent.
Yeah,
Even obviously
yeah, that doesn't
it's set in that particular period.
doesn't really help. Um, hmm. I don't think I'm gonna get it. I'm trying to think of any like current British crime dramas that I know anything about, and I don't know anything about any of them. So I'm just gonna say I don't know.
That's okay, not a problem. It'll be if you've got Netflix and stuff, it'll be probably on the front page of that. Actually,
Oh,
I don't know if
probably.
I said I don't know if I captured it. If it was when I had already started recording or before, I actually said the name accidentally
Oh, whoops.
at the very beginning. It's Peaky Blinders.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that show. I didn't even know it was a crime show.
Yeah, gangster kind of thing. Yeah, you got the Peaky Blinders, which is a gang from Birmingham doing all their various things, and then suddenly the Irish gangsters come along, and then the gangsters from London, and then the Italians from London, and the Jewish from London all start coming along, and it's an absolute car crash, as you can imagine. But that's Peaky Blinders.
Interesting.
Okay, switching tone. Different thing for entertainment. Music
Mm-hmm.
this time. What
Ooh,
British band is known for its hits such as Bohemian Rhapsody, We Are the Champions, We Will Rock You, and The Show Must Go On?
this one I know. This is Queen.
Spot on. Queen's the correct answer. Are you a Queen fan?
Not really, but at least when I was growing up, you could not avoid Bohemian Rhapsody. There was a
Yeah,
joke
that's
that like literally everybody knew the song Bohemian Rhapsody.
right. It's a very quotable song as well,
Oh yeah,
which makes it. But yeah, maybe it's a little bit overplayed. Maybe not played so much these days. But I
yeah.
love
It's probably a generational thing, right? I doubt people who are growing up now, like I doubt my nieces know anything about Bohemian Rhapsody. But when I was growing up, like you couldn't avoid it.
that's so sad. I mean, because the film's awesome as well. The Bohemian Rhapsody
Oh,
film is
there's a
amazing.
movie.
Yeah, it's very cool. Very, very good.
Is that the one they made about the like band in general or the
Yep,
lead singer?
yep. About the band. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I knew they made a movie about them. I didn't know it was called Bohemian Rhapsody, but that makes sense.
Very good. Love the band. Love the film. Love Freddie Mercury. Love Brian May. Love them all. It's amazing.
Awesome.
Okay, question number 4. The BAFTAs, and that's spelled BAFTA and then small s. The BAFTAs
Hmm.
is the British equivalent of what in the US?
Oh, this is an awards show. But there are so many different American awards shows. What could it stand for? B is probably
Ah,
like British.
uh-huh.
I don't know what the A would be, but FTA, I feel like that's film and television, right? Something to do with that. So, film and television. Do we do a combo one? Because we have like the Emmys for TV, and then we have the Oscars for movies. Um, I'm gonna guess the Emmys for TV.
Okay. Based upon the description you're given, I'll give you the point. Yeah, we kind of roll our film and television into one. When I looked it up online, the way it's described is like the equivalent to the Oscars. But I've looked up Emmys, and because it's a television industry thing, and BAFTA counts for film and television, I will give you the point. You're not wrong. You
Awesome.
you 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 kind of navigated the question by just working out what the abbreviation stood for, which is very logical.
What
So yes,
what
you get the point.
the important part of what the abbreviations? What do the A's stand for?
The British. Oh. Oh,
One of them
good
is
point.
one of them might be
One of them's
association,
association.
right?
Oh,
Yeah.
ah, is it art? Is the other one? Oh no, I
Oh,
don't remember.
maybe.
I looked this up over the summer and I don't remember. Oh, the British Academy. Oh,
Okay.
interesting. Okay, maybe I shouldn't give you the point. Well, maybe no, I should be a bit. Well, the BAFTA stands for British Academy of Film and Television Arts, sorry.
Okay.
But it's also called the British Academy Film Awards, which is called the BAFTA Awards. So technically, it should
Oh,
be the Oscars if it's Academy
yeah.
Film, but
Yeah, if it's Academy film, I agree. It should be the Oscars.
at the same time,
Do
BAFTA
they
stands for
do
Film and
they
Television. So
That's true.
I guess the question is, if we look up the BAFTA Awards, is there anything?
Do they give awards to TV shows? That's the question.
Ooh, it says British and international contributions to film.
Hmm. Yeah, I think you got to take it away from me.
Ooh. Well,
I had a
well,
50 I named them both. I had a 50-50 shot. I just went with the wrong one.
well. Hang on. Let's look at the awards and see if I can. If so, we've got best film, best short film, best animated film. Ooh, yeah, sorry. I think even though the abbreviation has the word television in it, which was a very logical thing to go for, it actually seems like it is actually purely based on the Oscars. Is like the Oscars. It's film only, even though it's called a
Okay.
BAFTA award, which is very weird. So there must be a separate award which is called the British Television Awards, I guess then.
I
That's
guess.
very unfortunate. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to take that away from you, but that's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
I thought you'd kind of like meta game that and got that correct then.
Well, I tried to.
That was
You
a good
can't always
effort.
rely on those abbreviations. Yeah.
Right, right. Okay, that's unfortunate. Okay, and the last one. Different topic again. Video
All
games
right.
this time.
Ooh.
What video game series, despite many of its titles being set in locations based on real US cities, was actually developed in the UK, primarily at a studio close to Edinburgh?
Is this Grand Theft Auto?
Spot on. That's a point.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah. I
one.
thought I remember hearing that the people who made Grand Theft Auto were not from the US.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, obviously, it's under Rockstar now, and Rockstar has offices in the US, and they must collaborate. But the first games were made, and I think even the more recent ones, there's still a lot of its development is done in Scotland. So
cool.
there you go. Alrighty. So I guess if you said you want to leave British words till last, you're gonna have to do history now then.
That's right. That's what we're coming up on. History.
A topic that again I am not very good at, but we'll have to see. So
A topic that I have fun with but don't remember much about.
we'll have to see how you go out of 5. Right, we'll see.
Yeah.
So the first one is, can you name the British Prime Minister in charge of the country at the beginning of World War II?
Wasn't that Neville Chamberlain?
Very good. You didn't fall for the trap and say Churchill. It was Neville Chamberlain, but he got booted out very quickly.
Right. Yeah, Churchill was like he took over for most of it and then wasn't even there for the end, right? They kicked him out at the end. I think I
Uh,
remember.
I think the war. Well, I guess it depends. We were talking about it last time. When did the war end? But I think from the British perspective, I think he was there at the end of the war. No, he must have been because he was
Okay.
there with oh, I'm gonna forget their names. That's terrible. Stalin and the American one. Is it Roosevelt?
Roosevelt.
Roosevelt. When they were
Yeah.
doing like the whole like kind of division of
Negotiations.
Germany and all that sort of stuff, right? And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it
I
says
feel
it
like
does.
I've heard there's sort of fun fact there's like a sort of fun fact that Winston Churchill was out of power at the very end, but I
Well, to
could
be
be
fair,
wrong about that.
it does say 1945. So yeah, maybe him and Roosevelt and Stalin were negotiating while the war was ending. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you got the answer, so it doesn't matter. That's good. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Bonus trivia.
absolutely. Uh, can you name the British monarch who ruled between 1509 and 1547? He was best known for having 6 wives across his lifetime.
The British monarch I know who's had a lot of wives is Henry VIII.
That's the one. Easy point.
All right.
There you go.
If you'd just given me the time span, I would have been doomed.
No, well, no. That's why I said trying to make it friendly. It's not meant to be a really, mean quiz. Mean quiz.
Which I appreciate.
Number 3. On the 5th of November every year, British people celebrate Bonfire Night. What historical event is this night celebrating slash remembering?
I've seen V for Vendetta. This is Guy Fawkes. Something to do with a plan to blow up the British Parliament, right?
That will do. That gets you the point. You got the name and you got what he was going to do, so that definitely gets you a point. Nice. Yeah, they're trying to blow up the Parliament on the. So there's a thing in Parliament which still exists called the State Opening of Parliament, and that's when the monarch comes along, and there's loads of weird rituals which are really weird, which I won't explain right now. And the monarch goes in and basically reads off a piece of paper of what the government of the day is going to do with its time, basically. And yeah, when King James I was doing the same in Parliament, they tried to blow up the Parliament. It was the Catholics because they weren't very happy with his anti sort of Catholic restrictions and things. So yep, that will do. Got it through film knowledge, but that's fine as long as
That's
you have
right.
the knowledge. It doesn't matter where you get it from.
Yep.
Right, number 4. What is the name of the legendary Scottish knight who was one of the leaders during the First War of Scottish Independence against the English? He is best known for winning
Mm.
the Battle of Stirling Bridge in 1297, and, maybe playing into your knowledge here, he is portrayed by Mel Gibson in the film Braveheart.
Oh shoot, that guy.
Ah, that
They were
guy.
calling him. They were calling him the Bruce, right? Uh, Shoot. William Wallace.
Spot on. William Wallace. There was another guy called Robert the Bruce,
Okay.
who was different, and he was a king of Scotland, but he was kind of involved with those battles. Or maybe, yeah, he was
It
a
was
king of
probably
Scotland
the.
from 1306, so it was just after that period. Yeah,
It was probably a movie thing.
yeah. No, yeah,
The
they took a lot of
only,
liberties with that one.
only reason I would have gotten that one was Braveheart.
No, that's okay.
But
That's why. That's why.
like you said, doesn't matter where the knowledge comes from.
Exactly. And the last one, another one about wars and things. In 1066, William the Conqueror succeeded in conquering England, but from
Hmm.
where did he hail?
Oh, he was from Normandy in the like north of France. Well,
Very good.
today it's France. Yeah.
Very good. That'll do. Normandy. That'll do. 5 points.
Yep.
Nice.
The one part of British history I know a lot about
There you go.
because I've done a lot. I wanted to teach myself Old English for a while, and so
Mm.
I did a bunch of studying on like what the times were like in the Anglo-Saxon era and the Viking era and all those things, which sort of overlap with that.
And I assume when you said
So
that, did you get round to it? Did you complete your mission?
no, I utterly failed.
Oh,
I was It was funny because I was riding so high. I decided to start it because I was like, hey, I learned Japanese. That only took me 7 years. I feel like I could do another language,
Oh no.
which is absolutely the wrong motivation for learning a language. Um, but it actually, if you like be completionist about it, it took me longer than 7 years to learn Japanese too. I just didn't want to like give myself credit for the first several years that I tried and failed. So I was sort of
Oh,
fudging things already in my mind. But I have like on the topic of like things that topic list of things we can talk about. I want to at some point talk about the language learning process that we both went through
yeah.
and sort of what that's like.
Right.
And yeah, so I like it's one of those things where I put it on the list because I was like, I feel like I have a lot of like things I can talk about that relate to this. One of which is specifically like I got that very high of like I've done it. I finally hit my goal. I know enough Japanese that I can read things and I can talk to people and I can understand people and I can write things down and this is amazing. Oh, it only took however many years. I could do another one, and it was a total mistake.
Yeah.
Total mistake. I wish I could. It's not too late, right? I could always take another crack at Old English, but I never actually completed it. At least when I was fired up from that specific moment.
Oh,
Yeah, I think one
well,
of the lessons that helped reinforce for me that I will bring up if we ever do this topic is for me personally. I think one of the hardest things about learning a language is just sticking with it.
right, right. Especially if you're learning it from the perspective you're not immersed in the language like day to day. It's
Yeah.
it's pretty tricky. Or you got people to
Hmm.
talk in the language with. So yeah. No, we can definitely talk about that. I'd be keen. Add to the
Hmm.
list. Um, Okie dokie. So you got 5 out of 5 there. I think you've smashed your target by a long way, mate.
I think I have.
So,
You, I did not account for how friendly you were making some of these questions.
oh well, there you go. It doesn't matter. You smashed the target.
Yeah,
That's the main thing.
that's the main thing. I agree.
So British words. So we have fun with
All right,
this.
here we go. Yep.
So the first 5 points. There's not a question per se. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 3 words or phrases. One of them is a place. It could be a town, it could be a street, it could be an area, something like that in the UK. The other one is an expression, and the other one is a dish. You have to
Okay.
work
Place,
out,
expression, dish.
right, place, expression, and dish. You have to tell me which one is which. If you get
Oh.
one of the 3 right, you get half a point. If you get all 3 right, you get the full point. Because obviously, if you get 2 right, then by default you get the third one right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then we can talk about them because they're you tell by the first group they're funky.
Okay.
Right. So the first phrase is "toad in the hole." The second one is "effing and blinding," and the third one is "fanny hands lane." So I'll repeat
Okay.
them: "toad in the hole," "effing
Yep.
and blinding," and "fanny hands lane."
I'm just jotting these down on my
Yeah, yeah,
computer here.
that's absolutely fine.
What was the last one again?
Fanny hands lane. I can type
Okay.
them and send them to you if that's easier.
No, I got it. Hmm. Okay. I'm gonna guess that toad in the hole is the dish. Um, effing and blinding is the expression, and Fanny Hands Lane is the place.
Rook, you have a point. You got all 3 right. Nicely done.
Nice.
Um, I guess the place one is not too tricky because it's got the word lane in it, unless maybe lane's not a word you use in the US very much. I don't know.
Oh, it's definitely a well. We use it more for like streets, like if you live on something lane. But
Right. So yeah,
that's
it's a street name.
yeah.
So yeah, it's that one's fine. It's just funny, right? With the word. Oh, I guess maybe
Oh,
it might not be so
absolutely.
funny to the Americans what fanny means. I don't know if you have the same meaning as
Oh
we
yeah,
do.
yeah. We do. We do.
Okay. Cool.
posterior, rear end, that sort of thing. Yep, I get it. That's why I thought I
D-
misheard you.
no, that's not what that
No,
is.
that's not. Oh, this is interesting. So what's this?
Okay, so
Should I look this up? Is this air like podcast friendly?
no. I can phrase it in a way that makes it broadcast friendly.
Okay.
I mean, it's an English word. It's not rude. It's nothing horrendous. But the fanny is an informal way of saying the vagina, the female genitals.
Interesting. Interesting. That's
It's,
that's a difference that I would not have expected.
which makes the name probably funnier.
Indeed.
But Fanny is also short form for Francis, as in the girl's name.
Right. Well, I've heard, people use that as a name. Yeah.
Right, right. Maybe not so common nowadays, especially with the modern meaning of Fanny as a, a colloquial word. It's
Right.
not very common at least in British English anymore. But yeah, there you go. So very unfortunate combination of first name and surname for that person. But there you go.
Indeed.
Effing blinding is the phrase. Do you know what it means if a person is effing and blinding?
No, I have no idea.
The blinding bit
This
maybe you
sounds like a
don't know,
phrase.
but effing you could probably guess.
Okay.
If you use oh, you can't be effing serious.
Okay. All right. So it is the same. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So effing and blinding just means a person swearing. Um,
Oh, okay.
and then toad in the hole. I don't know. Have you heard of the dish?
No.
Okay, so this requires a little bit of a backstory for the first thing. So in the UK, we have or especially in England, we have a thing called a Yorkshire pudding. The easiest way to
Hmm.
explain a Yorkshire pudding, I'll put a link in one of the comments. Uh, Imagine making a pancake batter, but don't put
Hmm.
any like sugar or anything. It's not sweet. It's savory. It's just the flour, the egg, and milk mixture.
Okay.
If you then take like a cupcake tray, put a little bit of oil in the bottom of each little divot, right, in the
Hmm.
tray, and then put that in a hot oven. Wait for the oil to get like smoking hot. Take the tray back out, and then you spoon this mixture into the hot oil, into the little molds, and then put it back in the oven. What happens is this mixture solidifies and it also grows in the shape of the cupcake like mold. So when you take it out of the oven after about 15 or 20 minutes, you have like these perfect, like almost pancake like bowls, but they got more air than pancakes. I don't want to make you think, oh, it's like a pancake, but it's a bowl shape. It's got a different. It's more airy because if you don't
Okay.
open the oven, all the air just pushes it upwards. So that's a Yorkshire pudding. We normally eat them with roast dinners. So it's like imagine a Christmas traditional Christmas meal, which is like a roast meat and everything. We
Hmm.
normally have it on Sundays. You got vegetables and gravy and stuff, and roast potatoes, and we got Yorkshire puddings. Um,
Okay.
so Toad in the Hole is basically instead of lots of these little Yorkshire puddings, it's one massive Yorkshire pudding. So it's in the shape you get like a big like roasting tin, and all of
Ooh.
that is one massive Yorkshire pudding, and you've got sausages cooked inside it. So you cook the sausages first, and then when the sausages are almost cooked, you pour this mixture all around it, and then this massive like pudding thing grows around the sausages, and then you eat it with
Oh,
gravy and stuff, and
nice.
it's awesome. So
Sounds
there you go.
great.
So it's got nothing to do with toads nor holes, but there you go. It's called Toad in the Hole. Right. Group number 2 for you, Rook.
All right.
The first one is Whip Ma Wop Magate,
All
which
right.
which is very fun to say. Whip Ma Wop Magate, especially if you say it very quickly.
Yeah.
Bubble and Squeak, and then the third one is Codswallop.
Okay. I feel like I've heard that last one before. I feel like that last one's probably an expression.
Okay.
Uh,
Even though it has the
no
word cod
idea.
in it, and cod is a fish.
I mean, that's my guess. I feel like I said, maybe the times I've heard it have been misleading, but I feel like I've heard someone say the word codswallop before as a like way of referring to like nonsense, poppycock. That like, just one of those fancy words for something that's nonsensical.
Okay.
Um, I could be dead wrong, but that's what I have experience with, so that's what I'm going with. And maybe that's totally set me off for the rest of it. Um, So I guess that would leave Whitmawapmagate for a place and Bubble and Squeak for food, the dish.
That's another point for you, Rook.
Uh-huh.
Nicely done. Yeah, you're right. Codswallop just means bullshit, nonsense, basically. Um,
Hmm.
Nothing to do with cod. Whitmawapmagate, probably the clue with the word gate in it gives you a clue. It's a tiny little street in York, which is a historical town in England.
Hmm.
Um, and Bubble and Squeak, yeah, it's just potatoes and fried cabbages and things. And yeah, that's it.
Wow.
Nicely done.
If I
Okay.
hadn't heard of Codswallop before, I'd have been doomed.
Well, there you go. You're absolutely right about it. All right, number three. So the first word is Shitterton.
Okay.
Second one is Cullen Skink. And then the third one is Chinwag.
Okay. Chinwag, I feel like, is an expression. That's got to be. Uh, and then, based on the other food names we've covered so far, I think Cullen Skink is a food name. And Shitterton, the ton sounds like it's a place name.
You got another point? Spot on. Yeah, Shitterton, just funny because of the word shit in it. But yeah, you're right. Sounds like a place, especially with the T-O-N, like town at the end. Uh-huh.
Right. Yep.
Cullen Skink is indeed food. It's a Scottish haddock and potato soup. It's very nice.
Oh.
And chinwag is indeed, it's not an expression, but it's a word. It's actually an action. Do you know what it is if you're chin wagging?
Um, just from the words that constitute it, it sounds like you're just talking back and forth a lot. I don't know.
Yeah, basically just having a little natter, a little bit of a conversation, basically. Yeah, exactly. It's also a noun. If you say, "Oh, do you want a chin wag?" It means do you want a little chat.
Oh, nice.
There you go. Right. Okay. Number four. The first word is poppycock. The second word is spotted dick, and the third one is cockermouth.
Okay. I feel like I've heard of enough of these that I can probably get
You can
this
tell
one.
there's a theme
Poppycock
developing
is,
with this one.
yep. Poppycock is another word for nonsense.
Okay.
So that would be the expression. Spotted dick is a dish. I feel like I've seen that on your baking show. Well, I don't know if it's yours, but the Great British Bake Off.
Oh,
Um, and then Cockermouth by process of elimination would be the place.
yeah, spot on again. That's another point for you, Rook. You said poppycock. And I was like, oh, damn it. You're right. It means absolute nonsense.
Yep.
Um, Spotted dick is a dish. Do you know what it
I don't know
is?
what it is. No, I have no idea.
It probably makes sense. It was on the British Bake Off. It's a steamed pudding made from dried fruit and like a type of sponge. It's actually I looked up online. It's actually initially made from suet, which is like animal fat. But now they
Oh,
try to make it more
okay.
like a sponge cake and eat it with custard and stuff. I've never eaten it, but maybe I should try it one day. And then yeah,
Interesting.
cockermouth. If you ever see the word mouth, or sometimes it's pronounced muff, depending on the word. It means literally the town is located on the mouth of a river.
That makes
Uh,
sense.
and the cocker bit, it comes from, I think, but potentially Old English for like crooked something, right? The
Hmm.
crooked thing. So yeah,
Like cockeye.
nothing to do with cocks or anything. So there you go.
Yeah.
So potentially getting 5 out of 5 here, Rook. Here's the last. Here's the last group.
All
So the
right.
first one is Great Bottom Flash,
All right.
Bangers and Mash,
I've heard of that one.
and Kip.
Okay. Now this one I've only heard of one, and the others I have no idea. So bangers and mash is a dish I feel like I've heard of.
Really? What do you think it is then?
I have no idea.
Oh,
I
okay.
just feel like I've heard that before.
Fair
Um,
enough.
I could be wrong. I am aware that any one of these things that I feel like I've heard before, I could be misremembering. So, but I have nothing else to go on, so I'm just gonna guess that that's a dish.
Okay.
Um, and then I guess of the two, Great Bottom Flash feels more like a place name than Kip does. So that's what I would say. I would say Kip is therefore the dish. No, not dish. That was bangers and mash. Kip would be the expression.
Spot on. 5 points out of 5.
All right.
Man, you're on a roll. Yeah, absolutely. So bangs and mash. Banger is a sausage, and then mash means mashed potato. So that's what that is. So
Ah.
if you ever see bangs and mash on the menu, you know what you're getting. You're right, Great Bottom Flash. I just did it because it's a funny name, but yeah, if it's some sort of like lake somewhere off some canal near London. And yeah, kip. Do you know what it means, a kip?
I have no idea.
Normally use it as a noun. You're off for a kip. Um, so for
Like a
example,
small
I
amount of money?
no. For example,
No.
I'm very lethargic now because I missed my afternoon kip.
Oh, like a nap.
Like a nap. Kip means sleep. You're off for a kip. You're off for a wee sleep.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought you
Big.
said offer a kip. That's why I thought of currency.
Oh, sorry. Off for a kip. That's me squishing my words together. Off for a kip.
No problem. We got there.
Okay, 5 out of 5. Excellent stuff. Right, so we got the last 5 more British words. So this one's just a bit different. I think because you're doing
Mhm.
very well, I'm going to give you 0 help for this.
Good. Good.
I'm going to just give you 5 words, and you just got to tell me what they mean.
All right.
So
Let's do it.
imagine if I told you the word poppycock, you just said nonsense. That would give you the point. Okay.
Hmm.
So the first one, it's kind of more like an expression. Hunky dory.
Hunky dory. Everything's fine.
That's another point. Everything's hunky dory. Everything's ticky boo. Everything's perfect.
Hmm.
Correct. Okay, number
See,
2.
the funny thing is, I've heard of hunky dory. I have no idea. What did you say? Tiki taboo?
Oh, tickety boo. Tickety boo. Yes, that's another one.
Tickety boo. Yeah, I've never heard that one before.
Oh, should I put that one then? Damn it. Okay,
Yeah.
never mind. That's okay. Right, next one. Gobsmacked.
Like utterly astonished.
Spot on. Do you know why? Do you know, like, what is a gob?
I feel like that's a mouth.
Yeah, spot on. That's
Yeah.
exactly it.
So it's like you've got your hand to your mouth. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, yeah. Number 3. Skew whiff.
Oh, this one I don't know. I'm gonna make something up. Skew whiff.
I can spell it if that makes it easier for you.
No, I want to guess.
Okay.
The fun thing about coming up with definitions is I get to make them up if I don't know them. Um, I feel like it's like to go sailing, like in a skiff.
Ah, no. Maybe if you just figure the word skew on its own, you'll probably get the answer. Maybe
Oh,
the whiff
okay.
bit is kind of sending you in the wrong direction, maybe.
So like to be off kilter.
Right, basically, it's not straight, right? And then whiff, if you whiff something, it means you don't do something with accuracy. Like if you whiff a shot in football, you just send it
Ah,
in the wrong direction. So something skew whiff, it just means it's not how it should be. Oh, the cupboard skew whiff. It's like it's tilting or whatever, right? It's just not something's not in the form that it should be in,
cool.
right? I don't know if you can use it for situations. Can you say that a situation's gone skew whiff? I wouldn't be surprised.
Sounds
Uh,
right.
doesn't no,
Just
it doesn't
learned a
seem
word.
like it. I think it seems too literal. It just means yeah, it's not straight. There you go.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I didn't get that one. Right, number 4. Plonker.
Oh, I don't know this one either. Plonker, but it sounds like some sort of failure.
Mm, I don't know if I can. No, I can't give you that.
Yeah,
I'm going to be
of
really
course not.
pernickety. I don't think I'm going to be a bit pedantic. I can't give you that. You got kind of the right
Okay.
idea. It's clearly negative.
Yeah,
Um, it's
like
more
you
directed.
like. Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say it's more directed towards a person.
Oh, well, I don't know as much now. See, I was thinking it was like you tried to do something like make a funny joke and then it utterly failed. That was a real plonker, is how I'm imagining it.
Ah, no, no, good try. Yeah, I can see how that could work. But no, we normally say that a person is a plonker.
Okay.
I actually said it, I think maybe when we were off camera, I did say the word plonker. I was like, oh, shouldn't have said that.
Okay,
uh,
well, I have no idea because I don't remember that.
a plonker's an idiot.
Oh, okay. Now I know.
And it became very famous. There's a comedy show that ran in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s called Only Fools and Horses, where some people think it's
Hmm.
the best. I'd probably agree with it. It's probably the best comedy show ever devised for TV. and a lot
Wow.
of the things that the central character says has become almost like common speech now. People have adopted it. So I'm not saying the word plonker didn't exist before
Mm.
then. I'm not saying that. But I think it became quite popular because the main character used to call his younger brother a plonker a lot.
Hmm.
Don't be a plonker all your life, Rodney. He used to say, right? So
Ah.
so that's what it means. You're an idiot. I was because I was watching the TV series a little bit over the summer when I was writing this quiz. I was like, plonker, that will do.
Perfect.
And the last one, the last question of the quiz. Your word,
Hmm.
Uruk, is gobbledygook.
Oh, that's just like a string of nonsense syllables.
Right, like gibberish.
Yeah.
Yeah, spot on. Spot on. You're talking absolute gobbledygook. You're just nonsense, but in the sense you just can't. Not that you're saying like a lie or anything, but you can't even work
Right.
out what on earth the person's
It's
saying.
like babbling. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, 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 exactly. Like a baby does or something, right? Yeah, spot on.
Hmm.
Good. Okay, well, I'll add up the points. You've done very well.
I destroyed my guess.
You
I should
did.
have had more faith in myself. Yeah, I never would have guessed that I would have scored as well as I did in sports in particular.
You got almost double your estimate.
Ooh,
You got
very good.
33.5 out of 50. That's a 6
Okay.
points. That's a 67%. I don't know what that'd be. What's that? Is that a B in the US grading system?
No, 67 would that's a failing grade.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah,
What? Less than
60.
50% is a fail grade in the UK.
Oh, okay. Uh so F is like in the 50s, D is in the 60s, and D is considered a failing grade. You need a C or higher to pass in the US.
What?
Yep.
Well, in the European system, this would be like a B plus. A
Oh,
is
wow.
70 and above normally.
Oh, okay.
So
You must
you
have
got,
much harder much
yeah, I think
harder standards, much harder
possibly.
questions.
I think
Yeah.
so. So you got a B plus, but you smashed your own
Nice.
goal, and that's all that matters. And
Right.
we learned some
And
stuff.
the point of the quiz was to have fun and learn a few things, right? It's not like it's not like this was actually something I was doing for school.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Apologies again to people in Ireland and Wales.
Yeah, exactly. But I think now you're going to go off and do lots of research about Wales now.
Yeah, yeah. I think maybe I will. They seem very cool from the little I've learned of them today. The
Well,
people in Wales.
exactly. Daffodils and
Yep.
leeks. Maybe leeks not so much.
Hmm.
Daffodils and dragons. You can
That's
get
right.
behind that. Maybe that should
Yep.
be the title of the podcast. I was going to call it the British Cultural Quiz, but maybe we should just call it Dragons and Daffodils.
No, daffodils and dragons.
Daffodils and Dragons. We'll get it that way round. Spot on. There you go. That's it. Given it is almost 10 o'clock my time, and my wife is probably sitting there seething on the sofa like, why I haven't come for my dinner yet, we should probably wrap up.
All
Although
right.
Mrs. Scott is a very tolerant human being, so I should probably go and give her some attention. But anything you
Yes.
want to
Many
quickly
thanks.
get round to before we wrap up?
Many thanks to Mrs. Scott Sword.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah. I don't think I have anything else. I think this was a lot of fun. Just so the viewers, listeners are aware, I probably won't be able to reciprocate a US based quiz like immediately for our next episode. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'll try to get it done soon though, while it's still in relatively recent memory, and while I have this format to base my version off of. But if it's not the next episode, it shouldn't be too long thereafter. But we'll see.
Oh, don't feel pressured to copy my format. If you got your own format you want to follow, by all means, go for it.
Well, I had no format at all.
Well,
Well, part of the reason I wanted you to do yours first, apart from the fact that yours was done and it was your idea, was that I wanted to base mine off of your format. So now I've got a template and I can like work on some of my own versions of these questions, and yeah, it should be fun.
nice. And I look forward to humiliating myself on that. I will do the same. I will set an equally low estimate and then be pleasantly
Oh,
surprised if it's higher, and if it's not,
oh,
then I'll admit that I don't know anything.
yeah. Well, I feel like you're gonna smash my quiz. I
Oh, I
feel
don't
like
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you are generally more well read than I am, so this is not going to end well for me. But
I don't know how much that's going to matter when it comes to US based questions. I don't... but we'll see. We'll see.
we'll see. Well, thank you, Rook. It's been fun. Hopefully the viewers enjoyed it. Hopefully they played along. Feel free to put in the comments below what score you got out of 50. It'd be interesting to see how we all compare. Um, did anybody beat a Rook score of 33.5? Obviously, any British viewers listening will have a distinct advantage, but by
Yep.
all means, if you're British, still put your score in, but maybe clarify if you're British or if you're from abroad, and then we'll be able to see.
That's right. Yeah. Do you or do you not have the cultural advantage? And if you don't and you beat me, hooray! I don't know what you get. You get a gold star.
You do exactly. We'll send it through the Ethernet to you.
That's right.
Spot on. Well, take care, everybody. We'll definitely have a podcast for you at the beginning of November. If we have time to record another one, sort of around the middle of October, then we shall do so. But don't worry, there'll be another keeping you company appearing soon in a town near you. But by all means, go back and check out the last couple of episodes because the view counts were much lower, so there's a possibility that a lot of people missed them. So you can
You're
check them
more
out.
optimistic than me. I think the view count is back to normal.
Well, we'll find out, won't we?
We will.
Thank you, Rook, as always.
Thank you, Scott Sword, as always. And thank you, everyone, for listening.
Absolutely. Amen to that. See you another one very soon. Bye bye.
Bye.